Chapter 540, Emperor Golden Snake. Chapter 540, Emperor Golden Snake. Emperor Golden Snake. Fang Han's words caused a stir on the battlefield. Everyone could not help looking at Jian Wushuang. Brother Wushuang, Qing Hua looked at Jian Wushuang with concern. They had clearly heard Jin Ling's message before he died, so they knew why Emperor Golden Snake was here. Is he coming? Contrary to these sergeants, Jian Wushuang remained calm. Whoosh! Emperor Golden Snake was as fast as lightning. He appeared in the air above the battlefield in a moment, overlooking them with his scarlet-colored eyes. Numerous bodies lay on the ground. Most were demonic beasts, but there were also many human bodies. Emperor Golden Snake quickly discovered Jin Ling's body, which was under a dead demonic beast. He vanished and reappeared beside Jin Ling. With a wave of his hand, he crushed the demonic beast's body into pieces. Then he bent down to lift Jin Ling's body slowly. Linger. Emperor Golden Snake's voice was cold, but his body was trembling slightly. The sergeants frowned as they looked on. In their opinion, Jin Ling deserved his death. However, they could understand Emperor Golden Snake's pain as a father. Emperor Golden Snake, Fang Han walked towards Emperor Golden Snake, trying to say something. Get out of my way! Emperor Golden Snake yelled. His mighty killing intent swept over the area in an instant. Fang Han, who had already been seriously injured, lost his balance and stepped backward as a mouthful of blood gushed from him. Boom! The killing intent spread around Emperor Golden Snake like a tide. With a wave of his hand, Emperor Golden Snake stored Jin Ling's body in his interspatial ring. He slowly stood up. His mighty and formidable killing intent soared again and was surged out like a landslide or a tsunami. The entire area became still and the air started to freeze. His eyes were full of overwhelming killing intent as he looked at the sergeants around him. Who is Jian Wushuang? Emperor Golden Snake asked, word by word, in a freezing cold tone. Being oppressed by his mighty killing intent, the sergeants could not help trembling. They looked at Jian Wushuang unconsciously. Emperor Golden Snake turned to look at Jian Wushuang. Is it you? Emperor Golden Snake stared at Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang knew that he could not hide, and he did not want to either. He took a deep breath and stepped forward. I'm Jian Wushuang. May I ask what you want, Emperor Golden Snake? Jian Wushuang, with the triple kill sword sheathed on his back, stood straight like a vigorous pine and looked straight at Emperor Golden Snake without any fear. The sergeants were full of respect towards him as they watched this scene. In the face of a divine emperor who might kill him at any time, Jian Wushuang still remained calm. His boldness impressed the sergeants, as well as Fang Han. Linger died. Emperor Golden Snake stared at Jian Wushuang. Yes, Jian Wushuang slightly nodded. He did not dodge Emperor Golden Snake's stare. He died. So why are you still alive? Emperor Golden Snake said coldly as a freezing killing intent flashed in his eyes. Go to accompany Linger. As soon as he finished his words, he started to attack. He turned his palm upside down, releasing a vast power. A huge palm, which was big enough to cover the sky, instantly solidified in the air. Its power was so vast that all the sergeants in the area were stunned. The palm quickly slapped toward Jian Wushuang at lightning speed. So arrogant. Jian Wushuang stood there coldly. The triple kill sword behind him had already been drawn out and was stabbing towards the giant palm. Chi! The sharp sword shadow pierced the palm and began to twist violently. The palm was directly penetrated and dissipated in the air. Considering Jian Wushuang's strength, it was impossible for Emperor Golden Snake to kill him with a casual move. Nevertheless, when the palm was crushed, Emperor Golden Snake also disappeared. Who did you say was arrogant? A voice without any emotion suddenly sounded from behind Jian Wushuang. Emperor Golden Snake stood behind him, less than 3 meters away. So fast, Jian Wushuang's eyes narrowed. He sensed that a freezing light was chopping toward his head. It was a black scimitar. It was extremely fast and it was already so close to him, so it was too late for Jian Wushuang to turn around and resist it. Buzz! A mighty killing intent surged out from Jian Wushuang and a vast blood river immediately spread out over the area. The blood river, which superimposed with the thousandfold realm to form a realm, oppressed Emperor Golden Snake, making him halt for a moment. The black scimitar also became slightly slower. Jian Wushuang seized the opportunity and dodged. Swoosh! The freezing black light whizzed past Jian Wushuang's ear, making a shrill boom as it glided through the air. So close! The sergeants could not help exclaiming as they saw this breathtaking scene. Not bad, Emperor Golden Snake was also surprised. Hum! Jian Wushuang snorted. Behind him, the 60-meter-high golden sword soul phantom appeared once again. Along with it came the matchless supreme sword essence. Jian Wushuang's turbulent power burst forth and the 8 origin marks on his arms also exploded, releasing power to their absolute limit. Then, he swung his long sword. The golden sword soul phantom behind him swung its long sword simultaneously. In an instant, the sky darkened. A bright and dazzling sword shadow emerged. This sword shadow silently glided through the space between them. However, it carried a terrible force with it that seemed as if it could exterminate everything. It was the 4th move of heart-killing sword technique, Sheer Shadow. Through Jian Wushuang's all-out exertion, the power of the sword had reached an earth-shaking level. The bright but silent sword shadow immediately chopped toward Emperor Golden Snake. Chapter 541, Fighting with Emperor Golden Snake. Chapter 541, Fighting with Emperor Golden Snake. This stroke! How dazzling! The sergeants around the battlefield looked at the sword stroke in shock, but the sword shadow was so dazzling that they couldn't help closing their eyes. Emperor Golden Snake also narrowed his eyes. The power of Jian Wushuang's sword stroke was far beyond that of a divine general. It was nearly comparable to that of a divine emperor. The only thing missing was a Dao. When the sword shadow glided past him, Emperor Golden Snake avoided it easily by simply shifting his body slightly. The immense power of the sword shadow glided right in front of Emperor Golden Snake and shot directly toward the ground below. Boom! Clang! With a loud boom, the sword shadow sliced a huge sword scar in the ground so wide and deep that no one could see the bottom of it. As the sword shadow chopped down, the numerous demonic beast corpses on the ground were all crushed into dust by the strong sword light. Hundreds of demonic beast corpses completely disappeared. How frightening! Was this really done by a divine general? He's too strong. The sergeants who were watching the battle were all very excited and they looked at Jian Wushuang with worship in their eyes. They had thought that Jian Wushuang would definitely be defeated by Emperor Golden Snake. Therefore, they fell into a daze when they saw what was happening. Jian Wushuang had faced off against Emperor Golden Snake in one-on-one combat. But it actually ended in a draw. Emperor Golden Snake, is this your full strength? Jian Wushuang's cold voice echoed throughout the area, then a light flashed in the eyes of the golden sword soul phantom behind Jian Wushuang. Swoosh! Jian Wushuang took a step forward while simultaneously releasing a burst of supreme sword essence, which materialized unexpectedly and shot through the air in the shape of tiny swords, rushing toward Emperor Golden Snake at an alarming speed. Funny, Emperor Golden Snake glanced at Jian Wushuang and said in a low voice, "Can a bug like you understand a divine emperor's means?" A shining gray light glinted from the black scimitar in Emperor Golden Snake's hand as a terrible power gathered around it. All the sergeants held their breath as they watched. They knew that Emperor Golden Snake was going to use a killing blow. But, even before Emperor Golden Snake could begin. Stop! A sudden cry was heard from a nearby area, after which a thin black-clothed elder appeared out of nowhere, standing between Jian Wushuang and Emperor Golden Snake. Boom! A majestic aura emanated from the black-clothed elder, indicating that he was also a divine emperor. It's him. Jian Wushuang changed his expression when he recognized the black-clothed elder. Previously, when Jian Wushuang fought with Fang Han in the camp, this black-clothed elder appeared to settle the conflict and seemed to be partial toward him. Golden Snake, what are you doing? The black-clothed elder turned to Emperor Golden Snake and asked. He had sensed the rising killing intent in Emperor Golden Snake even when he was on the front battlefield, so he followed Emperor Golden Snake in case something happened. He had witnessed Emperor Golden Snake's fight with Jian Wushuang. Xieying, are you going to stop me? Emperor Golden Snake stared at the black-clothed elder with scarlet eyes. The black-clothed elder was Emperor Xieying, one of the 108 divine emperors in the Monster Exterminating League. Upon feeling the immense killing intent radiating from Emperor Golden Snake, his complexion darkened slightly. What's wrong? Emperor Xieying frowned and asked, Golden Snake, you're a divine emperor, how can you fight with a divine general without a special reason? Have you forgotten your position? Reason? He, Ling died because of him. Is this reason sufficient? Ling Emperor Xieying changed his expression slightly. He naturally knew that Ling was Jin Ling. At the same time, he also knew how much Emperor Golden Snake doted on Jin Ling. Emperor Golden Snake had lived for a long time, so all of his relatives were dead and his tribe was long gone. Jin Ling was his last remaining family member in the world, so it was not difficult to imagine the importance Jin Ling held in his heart. It was rumored that Emperor Golden Snake liked to shield the mistakes for him men, but in fact, he only did this for his son. Since Jin Ling was dead, it was natural for Golden Snake to go mad. Golden Snake, wasn't your son killed by the demonic beasts? What's the matter with Jian Wushuang? Emperor Xieying said in a low voice. I say it matters. Xieying, get out of my way. Emperor Golden Snake's eyes sparkled with an angry light. He would have been more polite to Emperor Xieying ordinarily, but right now he only wanted to avenge Jin Ling and was being stopped by Emperor Xieying, so he raged against him. Golden Snake, Emperor Xieying wanted to say something. Get out of the way. Emperor Golden Snake growled, if you don't get out of the way, I swear that I'll apply to the Temple Masters for a life-death duel with you after this. A life-death duel? Emperor Xieying was shocked and his expression darkened. Right at this moment. What happened? Why did you two decide to have a life-death duel? The crowd suddenly heard a gentle voice and then felt a dense warmth surround them. The warmth immediately eased the tense situation as everyone felt a warm sensation in their hearts, which quieted them down. Under the watch of everyone, a tender figure slowly landed. She had a beautiful face, a curvaceous figure, and an enchanting smile on her face, with a dense warmth emanating from her as if she bathed in the sun like a goddess. Seeing her, Emperor Xieying immediately bowed and said, I pay my respects to your excellency. Although Emperor Golden Snake was in a rage, he respectfully saluted, Temple Master Pure Moon. Temple Master. The sergeants as well as Jian Wushuang were shocked for an instant and immediately saluted towards her. A Temple Master was a supreme being in the Monster Exterminating League and a super expert above the Cloud Realm. The 33 Temple Masters of the Monster Exterminating League made up the highest battle strength of the human population on the Monster Continent. Temple Master Pure Moon was one of the 33 Temple Masters. She had been in the East Camp all year round, but today she even came to the battlefield and killed many demonic beasts. Chapter 542, To Save or Not to Save. Chapter 542, To Save or Not to Save. Please rise, Temple Master Pure Moon said in a soft voice. Everyone got up one after another, at which point they noticed many people arriving and quickly appearing at her side. Those people were the generals of East Camp. These 10 generals were all divine emperors who had participated in the fight with demonic beasts on the front battlefield. They came here after they sensed what was happening, and even Emperor Fengshao was among them. Golden Snake, aren't you quite irritable today? Emperor Fengshao looked at Emperor Golden Snake with great interest. Emperor Golden Snake, I just heard that you wanted to have a life-death duel with Xieying. What happened? Why did you mention a life-death duel? Ha, Golden Snake, you always keep a low profile. Why are you being so domineering today? The generals were talking casually. Emperor Golden Snake was regarded as an average general among the 108 divine emperors. Many of the divine emperors present were stronger than him. As for Emperor Feng Shao, he was far stronger than Golden Snake. They did not need to consider Golden Snake's feeling when joking. Emperor Golden Snake's face darkened slightly. Nevertheless, with the presence of so many divine emperors and Temple Master Pure Moon, he dared not rage against them. Before Emperor Golden Snake could say anything, Emperor Xieying began to speak. Temple Master Pure Moon, and everyone else. Emperor Xieying narrated what he witnessed. When I was on the front battlefield, I noticed that Emperor Golden Snake seemed a little weird, so I followed him here. Then I found him fighting with this divine general named Jian Wushuang. In the end, Golden Snake is a divine emperor and he violated the rules of the East Camp by fighting with a divine general. In addition, this divine general had just fought with the demonic beasts and made great contributions to our league. So I tried to stop him. I never thought that he was unwilling to stop and insisted on killing Jian Wushuang. He even said that he would apply for a life-death duel with me if I still tried to stop him. Is it so? Temple Master Pure Moon, as well as the divine emperors, looked at Emperor Golden Snake in shock. Golden Snake, what's the matter? Temple Master Pure Moon's voice became cold. East Camp was established to defend against the demonic beasts. Its only enemy was the demonic beasts. In the East Camp, any personal conflicts must be put aside. The experts were allowed to fight with each other only after they left the East Camp, or if they got permission from the higher-level experts after applying for a life-death duel. Emperor Golden Snake had indeed violated the rules of East Camp by trying to kill a divine general without regards to the price. Temple Master Pure Moon, Jian Wushuang, killed my only son. How can I spare his life? Emperor Golden Snake said in a trembling voice. Killed your son? Temple Master Pure Moon's beautiful face became serious. She asked, do you mean that this divine general killed your son out of personal conflicts during the battle with the demonic beasts? Yes, Emperor Golden Snake replied, I got a message from Linger before he died. Out of personal conflicts, Jian Wushuang left him to die while fighting the demonic beasts. Temple Master Pure Moon, please uphold justice and allow me to kill this man and avenge Linger. Left him to die. Temple Master Pure Moon raised her eyebrows and turned to Jian Wushuang. Her mighty aura also started to suppress Jian Wushuang. Little boy, is that true? She asked. The divine emperors also turned to Jian Wushuang. Under the gaze of the crowd, Jian Wushuang took a deep breath and then nodded slowly, indeed, it's true. Temple Master Pure Moon, and everyone else, did you hear him? He admitted that he refused to help Linger and caused Linger's death. Emperor Golden Snake's voice was full of pain. Linger died because of him. Shouldn't I kill him to avenge Linger? The other divine emperors quietly nodded their agreement. In this case, it was natural for Emperor Golden Snake to avenge his son. At this moment, however, Jian Wushuang stepped forward and solemnly said when looking at Temple Master Pure Moon and others divine emperors, Temple Master Pure Moon and respected divine emperors, I want to ask you a question before you come to a conclusion. Temple Master Pure Moon and the divine emperors turned to look at Jian Wushuang again. My question is this, if you rescue a man, then he stabs you in the back after that and causes you to fall into a crisis, will you rescue him again? Jian Wushuang said in a low voice. Of course I won't rescue such an ungrateful man, a hot-tempered divine emperor directly answered. That's it. Jian Wushuang said loudly, Your Honors, I had already saved Jin Ling once before he died. I did my best to save him even at the price of falling into a crisis myself. After he made it out, he ignored the ones who saved him and only wanted to flee for his life, causing us to fall into despair and nearly die. If it wasn't for my trump cards, the sergeants of my squad and I would have been killed by the demonic beasts. The farmer saved a snake, but was bitten by it. I rescued such an ungrateful and selfish man once. Why should I rescue him a second time? Jian Wushuang became more agitated as he said these words, and his eyes, which were full of anger, as he turned to face Emperor Golden Snake. Emperor Golden Snake, you said that I left him to die. Let me ask you this, would you save him if you were me? Jian Wushuang shouted angrily. Golden Snake's expression darkened, but he did not reply. Temple Master Pure Moon, and your honors, Jian Wushuang turned to Temple Master Pure Moon and said solemnly, I, Jian Wushuang, am always open and straightforward. I'm fair to everyone and won't be affected by private feelings in business. I did my best to save Jin Ling once, so I don't feel guilty. I rescued him, but what I got in return was him leaving me in a desperate situation. I'm not a fool. I won't be cheated a second time. Even if Jin Ling stood in front of me and asked for my help now, I wouldn't save him again. If I were not restrained by the rules of East Camp, I would kill him myself. Jian Wushuang's loud voice echoed throughout the area, and his words were as sharp as blades, making people secretly feel surprised as they quivered. Temple Master Pure Moon and the Divine Emperors became silent. They were thinking about Jian Wushuang's words. If it were them, would they save Jin Ling again after that? The answer was definitely no. Chapter 543, A Life-Death Duel. Chapter 543, A Life-Death Duel. If it were me, do you expect me to rescue him again? He should feel lucky if I did not kill him directly, the hot-tempered Divine Emperor said. I wouldn't rescue him either. Only a fool would. In my opinion, I should directly kill him. Other Divine Emperors spoke out. Emperor Golden Snake became gloomy upon hearing their words. Jian Wushuang. Temple Master Pure Moon spoke again, but her voice was not as cold as before. Can anyone testify that what you said is true? Of course, Jian Wushuang nodded. The sergeants of the 7th Army and the 6th Army witnessed what happened. They can testify. Temple Master Pure Moon looked around. The sergeants looked at each other silently. Then, Feng Han, the commander of the 7th Army, spoke first. Respected Temple Master and Divine Emperors, I'm Feng Han, the commander of the 7th Army. I can testify that what Jian Wushuang said is true. I can also testify, the commander of the 6th Army also said. We can testify, Qing Hua and the other sergeants said. After the battle today, Jian Wushuang's strength had completely impressed them. Many sergeants began to admire Jian Wushuang. In addition, they saw clearly how Jian Wushuang went to save Jin Ling but was abandoned by Jin Ling naturally. They chose to testify for Jian Wushuang. Emperor Golden Snake, if you still don't believe it, you can ask the sergeants under the command of Jin Ling. They shouldn't lie to you, Jian Wushuang said. As soon as Jian Wushuang finished his words, a team leader who belonged to Jin Ling's squad said solemnly, Your Excellencies, what Sir Jian Wushuang said is true. Our squad had been surrounded by the demonic beasts. Sir Jian Wushuang risked his life to rescue us, but our squad leader, Jin Ling, ordered us to run away after we were rescued, leaving Sir Jian Wushuang and his squad in a desperate situation. Speaking frankly, our leader, Jin Ling, really did act ungrateful. The sergeants from Jin Ling's squad stood out to testify for Jian Wushuang. It made Emperor Golden Snake even more depressed. Golden Snake, did you hear that? Temple Master Pure Moon turned to Emperor Golden Snake and said, Your golden boy acted like that. How can you blame Jian Wushuang for not rescuing him? Emperor Golden Snake gritted his teeth and his eyes became scarlet. He took a deep breath and suddenly raised his head. Temple Master Pure Moon, Linger made a mistake, but he was my son, the last of my blood in this world. For the past years, I've made great contributions to the Monster Exterminating League and the whole human population. Now, my only son is dead. If I can't kill Jian Wushuang, I'll never accept it. What do you want? Temple Master Pure Moon lowered her voice. I'll apply for a life-death duel with Jian Wushuang. Emperor Golden Snake snorted. Life-death duel. His words caused a stir among the crowd. Even the divine emperors present looked at Emperor Golden Snake in shock. The life-death duel of the League was strict as it was set up entirely for the purpose of solving the endless hatred between two sides. It didn't matter what the two sides' ranks were. That was to say, a divine emperor could even have a life-death duel with a newborn baby as long as he got permission from the temple masters. However, the larger the strength gap was between the two sides, the more difficult it was to get permission. Nevertheless, once he got permission, the other side had to fight whether they were willing to or not. They would fight until one side died. According to the League's rule, since I'm a divine emperor, if I want to have a life-death duel with a general second-grade divine general, I only need the permission of 5 temple masters. Just 5 temple masters. I've made so many great contributions in the League, I don't think that I can't get permission from 5 temple masters, Emperor Golden Snake said coldly. He looked at Jian Wushuang with resentment in his eyes as if he were a real snake. No, Golden Snake, you're wrong, Temple Master Pure Moon suddenly spoke up. Huh? Emperor Golden Snake looked towards her immediately. Normally, according to the League's rules, if Jian Wushuang is a general second-grade divine general, you need the permission of 5 temple masters. But he's different, Temple Master Pure Moon said. Different? What's the difference? Emperor Golden Snake asked. The situation with Jian Wushuang is not as simple as you thought. In other words, Jian Wushuang is not as strong as you believe. Temple Master Pure Moon spoke in a weird tone. What do you mean? Emperor Golden Snake asked in confusion. The other divine emperors were confused as well because they did not understand what Temple Master Pure Moon meant. Only Jian Wushuang and Qinghua, who stood next to him, knew the reason. An odd look appeared on his face and Jian Wushuang could not help stroking his nose. Golden Snake, to be honest, you'll need the permission of at least half of the temple masters if you want to have a life-death duel with Jian Wushuang. In other words, 17 of the 33 temple masters. The reason is simple. Temple Master Pure Moon paused and said slowly under the confused gaze of the crowd, Jian Wushuang is just a little guy who is still in the Saint Realm. The whole battlefield immediately became still. The sergeants, as well as the divine emperors, stood there in a daze. Temple Master Pure Moon, what did you say? A divine emperor next to her thought that he misheard her. I said, Jian Wushuang is only a Saint Realm expert, Temple Master Pure Moon said again. Now, everyone had heard clearly. After they heard her clearly, an unprecedented outcry burst forth on the battlefield. The Saint Realm? Jian Wushuang is only a Saint Realm expert. As a second-grade divine general, he was so strong that he could even cause a draw with Emperor Golden Snake for a short period. Yet, he's only a Saint Realm expert. Was she joking? Everyone was filled with an unprecedented shock, especially the sergeants, who had personally witnessed Jian Wushuang's incredible and admirable strength. But now, Temple Master Pure Moon was telling them that Jian Wushuang was only a Saint Realm expert. Can that be true? Saint Realm? How could it be? It's impossible. The sergeants shook their heads crazily. Chapter 544, So Incredible. Chapter 544, So Incredible. Saint Realm? Emperor Golden Snake stared at Jian Wushuang in shock. He had just fought with Jian Wushuang and was quite shocked by Jian Wushuang's strength. If it hadn't been for the fact that he had comprehended a Dao, he would not have the confidence to defeat Jian Wushuang. But now, he was being told by Temple Master Pure Moon that Jian Wushuang was only a Saint Realm expert. A Saint Realm expert was able to battle with him for 2 rounds and come out with a draw? A Saint Realm expert could force him to go all out. That boy, even Emperor Fengxiao felt shocked. When he was in Heaven Wing City and watched Jian Wushuang's performance during the Divine General Assessment, he was quite surprised by Jian Wushuang's strength. But he had never thought that Jian Wushuang was only a Saint Realm expert. Jian Wushuang, do you think that your aura concealing technique can deceive me? Temple Master Pure Moon looked down towards Jian Wushuang and spoke. Hearing this, Jian Wushuang forced a bitter smile and then quit hiding his aura. When his real spiritual power aura was released, the sergeants in the area immediately shouted out in astonishment. Oh my god, he's really a Saint Realm expert. He is indeed. Emperor Golden Snake stared at Jian Wushuang, his facial expression changing immediately. Golden Snake, do you understand now? Temple Master Pure Moon turned towards Emperor Golden Snake. As a divine emperor, you're far beyond a Saint Realm expert. Therefore, the condition of having a life-death duel is tougher. You need the permission of at least 17 Temple Masters. Emperor Golden Snake turned pale. 17 Temple Masters. Altogether, there were 33 Temple Master in the Monster Exterminating League. At least some of them were cultivating in seclusion at all times and would not appear unless there was a massive demonic beasts invasion that threatened the human population with the danger of extinction. Some Temple Masters were adventuring in the monster territory and rarely returned. They would not concern themselves with the life-death duel either. The remaining number of Temple Masters was above 17, but who would agree for him to have a life-death duel with a Saint Realm expert? It was obviously unfair. Jian Wushuang, Emperor Golden Snake gritted his teeth and turned to face Jian Wushuang. Don't be proud. I'll find a way to get permission from 17 Temple Masters. I'll avenge Linger no matter what price I need to pay, even if it costs me my life. After saying that, Emperor Golden Snake bowed to Temple Master Pure Moon and immediately left with a wave of his sleeve. Alright, that's the end of it. You can leave now, Temple Master Pure Moon said before quickly disappearing. The Divine Emperors also dispersed. Before they left though, they looked at Jian Wushuang curiously. A Saint Realm expert with such strength. Interesting. Jian Wushuang is so extraordinary. If he has a breakthrough and reaches the Cloud Realm, I'm afraid he'll be stronger than us. It seems that Golden Snake has to swallow the tough pill this time. It's definitely impossible to get the permission of 17 Temple Masters. After the Divine Emperors dispersed, Zone number 14 calmed down again. Fang Han came up to Jian Wushuang at this moment. Jian Wushuang, Fang Han had a complicated expression as he glanced at Jian Wushuang and immediately took out an interspatial ring. These are the monster cores and treasures obtained by the sergeants while cleaning the battlefield. According to your position and your contributions in the battle, you get the largest portion, 10%. Jian Wushuang had indeed made the greatest contributions in the battle. He had used the realm technique and slaughtered numerous demonic beasts. In addition, he had blocked the breach alone. It could be said that Jian Wushuang was the reason why the sergeants could kill so many demonic beasts in zone number 14. No one would complain if he took 10% of the monster cores and treasures. Thank you, Jian Wushuang nodded. After cleaning the battlefield and disposing of the demonic beast bodies, the sergeants returned to the campsite. Jian Wushuang sat alone in a tent, counting the monster cores he had obtained from the battle. Monster cores were much easier to obtain during a brutal war, so the number of monster cores Jian Wushuang obtained in this battle was astonishing. It actually took him a moment, but he counted all of them. 13 rank 8 monster cores. 36 rank 7 monster cores. 141 rank 6 monster cores. And countless monster cores under rank 6. After seeing the monster cores in the interspatial ring, Jian Wushuang's eyes sparkled with excitement. A large portion of the monster cores had been obtained by slaughtering the demonic beasts mercilessly, while the other portion had been distributed to him after cleaning the battlefield. Either way, the total value was quite extraordinary. Sure enough, war is the easiest way to get monster cores, Jian Wushuang said and smiled. Monster cores were extremely useful in the Monster Exterminating League. They were the only way to exchange the treasures in the Earth Core Palace and the monster-exterminating pagoda. And the number of monster cores obtained by Jian Wushuang during the battle was enough to make even the Divine Emperors envious. With these monster cores, I can get the next levels of the bone fusion technique. Jian Wushuang clenched his fists in excitement. That night, Jian Wushuang and Qing Hua walked side by side in the campsite. After the brutal war, the campsite had an intangible air of sadness. Numerous sergeants died in the battle. The Monster Exterminating League had already begun to supplement the remaining force. It was estimated that in a few days, the understaffed armies and squads in the East Camp would be fortified to a reasonable level. Look, that's Jian Wushuang. Is it him? Gee, I heard today that even Emperor Golden Snake could not defeat him, and it's said that he's only a Saint Realm expert. It's so incredible for a Saint Realm expert to be so strong. The sergeants looked at Jian Wushuang with awe and admiration. Many sergeants were talking about him in a low voice. Brother Wushuang, you're really famous in the East Camp now. Many sergeants are talking about you, Qing Hua said. Jian Wushuang smiled but didn't really care. Brother Wushuang, are you still worried about Emperor Golden Snake? Qing Hua looked at Jian Wushuang. No, Jian Wushuang shook his head and replied. In fact, you don't need to worry about him. Even though he's a divine emperor, you're a second-grade divine general in the league. At the very least, he won't dare to do anything to you directly. As for the life-death duel, he'll need the permission of 17 temple masters. Think of the supreme position of the temple masters. Emperor Golden Snake can barely meet any one of them, let alone asking for their permission. It's definitely impossible, Qing Hua said. Chapter 545, An Outsider. Chapter 545, An Outsider. 17 Temple Masters. Jian Wushuang smiled. The Temple Masters had a supreme position in the Monster Exterminating League. It was not easy to meet any one of them, let alone to meet 17 Temple Masters. Even if Emperor Golden Snake used up all of his wealth, it was impossible for him to meet so many Temple Masters. Most importantly, the Temple Masters might not promise even if he could afford the price. Of course, he can't do anything publicly. But he may find a chance to kill you secretly, Qing Hua said. If Emperor Golden Snake used some secret means, as long as he was not discovered by others, no one could blame him. I'll take whatever measures the situation calls for. I'm ready for him, regardless of whether his actions are open or secret, Jian Wushuang replied calmly. He had a taste of Emperor Golden Snake's strength from the previous fight with him. Although he might have difficulty competing with Emperor Golden Snake in one-to-one combat, it would not be a problem for him to keep his life. Jian Wushuang did not care too much about Emperor Golden Snake's threat. On the other side, Emperor Golden Snake was sitting at a long desk in one of East Camp's tents. General, all the information about Jian Wushuang is here. A sergeant handed a packet of information to him. Emperor Golden Snake took the paper and immediately frowned. He asked, so little. The material was only a few pages long, so it didn't take long for Emperor Golden Snake to open it and read through it. What's this? There is only information on him for the last few months. Where is the rest of his information? Emperor Golden Snake asked. General, according to the information we found, Jian Wushuang was saved by the Wu Yan tribe a few months ago. No one knew anything about him before that, the sergeant replied respectfully. Oh. Emperor Golden Snake was surprised and read the information again. He just started to learn the bone fusion technique when he joined the Wu Yan tribe. Emperor Golden Snake was surprised. Since he had fought with Jian Wushuang, he clearly understood Jian Wushuang's physical strength. Obviously, Jian Wushuang had cultivated to the 6th level of the bone fusion technique. He's such a powerful Saint Realm expert, but he only just learned the bone fusion technique a few months ago. In addition, he has cultivated to the 6th level of the bone fusion technique within such a short period. His past is also full of mystery. Even the monster-exterminating pagoda failed to find out his background before entering the Wu Yan tribe. Since he's so strong and has extraordinary means, why was he not famous at all? Emperor Golden Snake frowned thoughtfully. There are only two possible ways to explain all this. Emperor Golden Snake's eyes suddenly lit up. The first one, he's a monster spy. However, since he is a divine general, he must have been inspected by a monster discriminator, so that isn't possible. That only leaves the second option, he is an outsider. Outsiders referred to human experts who came from outside of the monster continent. There were several outsiders on the monster continent, and there were even 3 outsiders among the 108 divine emperors. When Jian Wushuang was in the Wu Yan tribe, Qinghua, a first-grade divine general, had guessed Jian Wushuang's identity as an outsider. Golden Snake had a broader vision than Qinghua, so he naturally could figure it out as well. Ha, God blessed me. God blessed me. Jian Wushuang turns out to be an outsider. Emperor Golden Snake became extremely excited. He was worried about how to kill Jian Wushuang and avenge his son, but now he knew that Jian Wushuang was an outsider. People in the Monster Exterminating League would inevitably have some objection to outsiders. The League was more likely to help their own people when there were conflicts. After all, a mother would favor her own son no matter what her son did. If Jian Wushuang was not an outsider, the Temple Masters would probably refuse Emperor Golden Snake's application for a life-death duel. After all, Jian Wushuang had great potential. As a Saint Realm expert, he was already so powerful. Once he entered the Cloud Realm, he would become at least a superior emperor. It was even possible for him to become the 34th Temple Master of the Monster Exterminating League. The Monster Exterminating League would never allow a peerless genius like Jian Wushuang to be killed prematurely. But an outsider was different. What was the use of a potential outsider who was not controlled by the Monster Exterminating League? In contrast, although Emperor Golden Snake did not have as much potential, he was a divine emperor and could make greater contributions to the League. Since we know he's an outsider, it will be easier to kill him, Emperor Golden Snake sneered and left the tent. After traveling through the wormhole, Emperor Golden Snake quickly arrived at the holy place. Among the palaces that covered the mountain in the holy place, there was a scarlet one, and the owner of that palace was Temple Master Iceberg, one of the Temple Masters in the Monster Exterminating League. The palace was magnificent. A middle-aged man with a mustache was sitting there, barefoot and wearing a loose robe. "Respected elder," Emperor Golden Snake said with his head down. This man was also a Temple Master. When facing Temple Master Pure Moon, Emperor Golden Snake appeared to be humble and respectful, but he was filled with genuine respect and fear toward this man. "Golden Snake, did you come here for your son Jin Ling?" The middle-aged man named Temple Master Iceberg looked down at him. "Yes." Emperor Golden Snake nodded respectfully. "I can't help you avenge your son," Temple Master Iceberg shook his head. "Elder," Emperor Golden Snake's look changed slightly. "Golden Snake." Temple Master Iceberg spoke some more. "I've watched you grow up all the way to Divine Emperor, so I can be counted as a half-master to you. Because of that, I'll help you as long as I can. However, I also have to obey the rules of the League. The man who you want to kill is a second-grade Divine General. You can only kill him by initiating a life-death duel. But, the most important issue is that he's only a Saint Realm expert. Eve as a Saint Realm expert, he has the battle strength of a second-grade Divine General. Such a peerless genius has never appeared on the monster continent before. The old guys in the League will never allow you to kill him. What's more, they may send experts to protect him secretly so that he can grow up to become a powerful resource for the League. Elder, Jian Wushuang is an outsider." Emperor Golden Snake suddenly said. "What?" Temple Master Iceberg's look changed. Chapter 546, Approved. Chapter 546, Approved. "An outsider, are you sure?" "I can't be completely sure, but I would say," at least 90% confident, Emperor Golden Snake replied solemnly. Temple Master Iceberg pondered for a while before shaking his head as usual. Even if he's an outsider, a life-death duel with him won't be easy for you. I know, and that's why I came to find you, my senior. Emperor Golden Snake turned his eyes toward Temple Master Iceberg. Folding his eyebrows, the latter became silent and did not offer a swift reply. Senior, I was lucky enough to obtain a jade slip during an opportunity once. Emperor Golden Snake inhaled a deep breath before he slowly explained. There was a message in that jade slip. It mentioned the ancient world token. What did you just say? Temple Master Iceberg, who had been sitting upright on his throne all along, suddenly stood up. A strange expression flickered faintly in his eyes. Emperor Golden Snake was not at all surprised by Temple Master Iceberg's sudden change of attitude. He was fully aware of the attraction which the ancient world token had for the latter. Senior, you didn't hear wrongly. The message in the jade slip indeed mentioned the ancient world token, Emperor Golden Snake affirmed. Quick, let me have a look at the jade slip, Temple Master Iceberg implored. With no hesitation, Emperor Golden Snake waved his hands and took out a jade slip which he passed to Temple Master Iceberg. After receiving the jade slip, Temple Master Iceberg transmitted his consciousness into it and immediately received a message. Emperor Golden Snake simply stood where he was and waited in silence. There was, however, a confident smile on his face, which grew into an unconcealable large grin by the time Temple Master Iceberg came to his senses a short while later. Golden Snake. Temple Master Iceberg looked down once more. I'm keeping this jade slip. As for the life-death duel, I'll immediately send word to the other temple masters to do me a favor. They can't refuse when I'm asking in my personal capacity. Thank you so much, Senior. Emperor Golden Snake became overjoyed at once. All right then. You should head back and prepare. Temple Master Iceberg waved a hand. Yes, Emperor Golden Snake acknowledged before he turned and departed. Left alone in the palace, Temple Master Iceberg was ecstatic. Ancient world token. Time flew by in the blink of an eye. At present, it had already been 10 days since the massacre of the demonic beasts. Within these 10 days, the East Camp was completely stabilized, and most of the sergeants who were lost in the battle had been replaced. At this moment, two figures swept forth from a void near to the campsite of the 7th Army. One of them was Emperor Fengxiao, who had previously bestowed the token of the 4th level of the Earth Core Palace to Jian Wushuang. The other was Emperor Xieying, who had used his hands to hold back Emperor Golden Snake. Sigh, I'd personally prevented Emperor Golden Snake from killing Jian Wushuang in the past. Little did I expect that I would be in charge of announcing this matter now. Emperor Xieying heaved softly with an unpleasant look on his face. I never imagined that Golden Snake could actually find a way to make the 17 temple masters approve of the life-death duel. Emperor Fengxiao frowned as well. He certainly wouldn't have had the capability to do so on his own. My guess is that Temple Master Iceberg supported him and asked on his behalf, said Emperor Xieying. Temple Master Iceberg is one of the top 3 experts among the temple masters of my monster exterminating league. The other temple masters would usually agree to any request he makes. And most importantly, Jian Wushuang is an outsider. That's right. If he wasn't an outsider, it wouldn't be possible even if Temple Master Iceberg intervened. Emperor Fengxiao sighed. All right, enough talk. We're here. Emperor Xieying looked down toward the campsite of the 7th Army. Jian Wushuang. Emperor Xieying and Emperor Fengxiao were still standing abreast on the void when the former's voice could be heard below. Jian Wushuang, who had been studiously meditating the 6-story pagoda restriction in a tent, immediately stepped out and appeared on the void upon hearing the voice. Emperor Fengxiao, Emperor Xieying. He respectfully bowed to the 2 men he saw. He was grateful for the help they had given him in the past. However, they looked back at him with rather complicated looks in their eyes. Jian Wushuang. Emperor Xieying opened his mouth slightly but held back just as he was about to speak. After a long while, he sighed and said, Temple Master Pure Moon ordered me to send word that Emperor Golden Snake's proposal for a life-death duel with you has been approved by 17 Temple Masters. What? It has been approved? Jian Wushuang could not help feeling surprised. He had believed that it was practically impossible for Emperor Golden Snake to gain the approval of 17 Temple Masters, but alas. It seems that I've underestimated Emperor Golden Snake. One has to be quite capable to make 17 Temple Masters approve of the life-death duel. Jian Wushuang muttered. Emperor Xieying continued, according to the League's rules, the life-death duel must go through now that it has the approval of 17 Temple Masters. However, considering that you're only a Saint Realm expert, the disparity with Emperor Golden Snake's level is too huge, and so you'll be given a month to prepare. When a month's up, the showdown between you two shall take place in the Bloodshed Valley. A month? Jian Wushuang nodded to himself. To give him a month to prepare showed that the Monster Exterminating League was not too unreasonable. Now that I've conveyed what I was ordered to, I shall leave. Emperor Xieying turned and departed as soon as he finished speaking. However, Emperor Fengshao was not in the same hurry, and instead came up beside Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang. Emperor Fengshao looked at the latter with a slight smile. Emperor Fengshao. Jian Wushuang humbly acknowledged. You amazed me during the Divine General Assessment in Heaven Wing City. But now, you have amazed me even more. Emperor Fengshao laughed. Already feeling the pressure of the life-death duel with Emperor Golden Snake that takes place in a month's time? Yes, a little. Jian Wushuang nodded his head indicatively. A life-death duel was different from a typical fight. In a typical fight, he would be able to escape even if he could not defeat Emperor Golden Snake, and so he would not be the least bit worried about the latter. But in a life-death duel, someone had to die, and that would be him if he was weaker than his opponent. There's no way out. None of the Temple Masters sided with you after the League found out you're an outsider, Emperor Fengshao said. Jian Wushuang could not help laughing bitterly upon hearing this. He finally understood that his background affected the Temple Masters' feeling toward him, and thus explained why they gave their approval. You can't change the fact that the life-death duel has been set. It's too late even if you think of escaping now. Unless you flee to a territory occupied by demonic beasts and never return to human territory, that is. Emperor Golden Snake alone won't scare me away. Jian Wushuang laughed easily. What a joke of a suggestion. While in the Divine Land, he had safely emerged from an encounter with an entire bunch of super experts and above from the Cloud Realm, who were equivalent in level to the Temple Masters of the Monster Exterminating League. Emperor Golden Snake was merely a normal emperor and thus was not going to scare him away. Chapter 547, Attainments. Chapter 547, Attainments. Jian Wushuang, let me remind you not to underestimate Emperor Golden Snake too much, Emperor Fengshao suddenly quipped. Oh. Jian Wushuang looked in surprise at him. He has always kept a low profile among the 108 divine emperors, such that everyone considers him to be the weakest among them. However, nobody knows how strong he really is. After all, he has never fought a life-death battle, whether against humans or demonic beasts, Emperor Fengshao noted. I have had some dealings with him. Even though we've never fought, I always felt that his strength wasn't as simple as it looked. He might have exchanged blows with you before, but I can assure you that he wasn't using his full strength. Jian Wushuang's gaze became slightly fixed upon hearing this. He never imagined that Emperor Fengshao would give such a high estimation of Emperor Golden Snake. In any case, the outcome of the life-death duel in a month's time will depend on your skill. I have 2 things here that should assist you somewhat. Emperor Fengshao took out a jade slip and a purple golden fruit which gave off an enchanting fragrance. What are they? Jian Wushuang looked doubtfully at the 2 items and was in no hurry to receive them. This jade slip contains some of my Tao attainments, and also many occults from the water drop sword principle which I meditated upon. It'll be helpful as a reference for your Tao meditation. Emperor Fengxiao added, this is called a soul fruit. I obtained 2 of them by chance during my time wandering the monster territory, and have already consumed 1. A soul fruit is a very special natural treasure and can be used to elevate one's soul. I'd only ever awakened 2 sword souls, but after consuming the soul fruit, I awakened a 3rd. As for your sword souls, they're very peculiar, or should I say, frightening, but there's still plenty of room to grow. The soul fruit will definitely be useful to you. These words jolted Jian Wushuang's heart. Emperor Fengxiao's Tao attainments, occults from his meditation of the water drop sword principle, and the soul fruit. These things were not just useful but extremely useful to him. But why was Emperor Fengxiao willing to give him such precious things? Previously, Emperor Fengxiao had also unconditionally given him the token of the 4th level of the Earth Core Palace, which was extraordinarily valuable and incomparably well regarded among the divine emperors. Jian Wushuang had asked himself why the former took such great care of him even though they did not have a pre-existing relationship. Take them. Emperor Fengxiao held the jade slip and soul fruit in front of Jian Wushuang and smiled. I was greatly inspired by your display of swordsmanship during the divine general assessment. If not for that, I might never have mastered the sword movement which I painstakingly studied, and I would never have made such a fast breakthrough regarding the bottleneck that was troubling me in my sword principle cultivation. You helped me a great deal. These are my gifts to you. Jian Wushuang only now understood that the swordsmanship he displayed during the divine general assessment had inspired and thereby helped Emperor Fengxiao. That explained why the latter would be so caring toward him. Thank you so much. Jian Wushuang expressed his gratitude before less courteously accepting the items. You have a month to prepare. Go and get ready. I wish that you'll get through safely. Emperor Fengxiao glanced at Jian Wushuang and made his leave without saying any more. Jian Wushuang made his way down to the campsite, where Qinghua came up to him as soon as he landed. Brother Wushuang, what happened? Qinghua frowned. I'll be fighting a life-death duel with Emperor Golden Snake in a month's time, Jian Wushuang replied. How's that possible? Qinghua was astounded. How did Emperor Golden Snake gain the approval of 17 temple masters for it? They only approved because Temple Master Golden Mountain personally intervened and the Monster Exterminating League found out I'm an outsider, Jian Wushuang answered. Temple Master Golden Mountain? Qinghua showed a slight change in countenance. Qinghua, I'm going to leave East Camp. Alright. You only have a month, so go and get prepared, Qinghua solemnly said. Nodding, Jian Wushuang promptly went and applied to leave East Camp. The process was very simple and only took half a day. After handing over all of his responsibilities in the camp, he made a swift departure. A month may not be long, but it's also not too short. I must find a way to increase my strength during this time, Jian Wushuang muttered to himself. The first thing he did was to find a private place where he could thoroughly study the jade slip that Emperor Fengxiao gave him. The place he chose was the Sky Solitude Mountains. The mountains were vast in range and had few passers-by. After finding a spot in one of them where he sat cross-legged, he took out the jade slip and began to look through its messages. The jade slip contained Emperor Fengxiao's Tao ideas and attainments, and also several of his thoughts regarding the water drop sword principle. It was a very diverse mix of messages. It took a long time for Jian Wushuang to look through all of the messages in the jade slip. So, this is what Tao is really like. There was a hint of enlightenment in his eyes. He had many long-standing questions about Tao as he had never come into contact with it and did not understand it at all. All he knew was that it was highly intriguing. In the Divine Land for instance, Su Ming's illusory sword principle and Blind Emperor's heart sword principle were profound like none other. It was only now, having looked through Emperor Fengxiao's thoughts and attainments, that he understood. Tao is an evolved form of origin. When one's understanding of origin reached a certain level, the origin would evolve into the higher level Tao. This type of evolution had a very complicated process which could only be completed if one had unique understandings of and attainments in origin. For example, Emperor Fengxiao derived the water drop sword principle from his understandings of the water drop origin. But there were still things Jian Wushuang could not understand. According to Emperor Fengxiao, he combined the sword principle and water drop origin to develop the water drop sword principle, which I find a little odd even though it's a Tao. He frowned tightly. It seemed to him that origins were origins and sword principles were sword principles, that the two were completely different. The latter should purely be evolved from the former. Instead, Emperor Fengxiao's water drop sword principle was not a pure evolution of the water drop origin but required the addition and support of the sword principle in order to be developed. The water drop sword principle seemingly deviates from the essence of the water drop origin. Jian Wushuang shook his head involuntarily. Chapter 548, Soul Fruit. Chapter 548, Soul Fruit. Jian Wushuang sat deep in thought. Emperor Fengxiao's attainments and understandings are extremely useful to me in any case. At the very least, I have a fresh understanding of Tao. Although I cannot readily agree with some of his ideas, everyone has his own Tao just as everyone has his own path in life. I just need to draw 1 or 2 lessons from his work. I have to keep doing my own study in order to develop my own Tao based on my own ideas. Without thinking further, Jian Wushuang inhaled a deep breath and took out the soul fruit. Soul fruit. A hint of anticipation appeared in his eyes as he gazed at the purple-golden fruit which gave off an enchanting fragrance. According to Emperor Fengxiao, this is tremendously effective at boosting one's soul, and a person can only consume one such fruit in a lifetime. I wonder what use it has for my sword soul. After murmuring to himself, Jian Wushuang opened his mouth and swallowed the soul fruit without hesitation. Upon reaching the stomach, the soul fruit transformed into a strange energy and moved toward the sword soul in the sea of consciousness. An incomparably sharp golden sword soul had been quietly floating in Jian Wushuang's sea of consciousness. However, it clearly became excited and began to tremble frantically when the strange energy appeared. It then opened what resembled a large mouth toward the energy. It took barely a moment for the golden sword soul to completely swallow the energy. Jian Wushuang immediately sensed that the golden sword soul was changing. What a wonderful feeling this is. He could feel that his sword soul was leveling up at an astonishing speed. Though it was already very sharp and powerful to start with, its golden radiance became increasingly dazzling yet. It took a long time before the improvement gradually ceased. As he looked at the golden sword soul in his sea of consciousness, Jian Wushuang could see that it was obviously a size bigger, and also more sharp and dazzling, than before. Just as some ideas sprang to his mind, the majestic golden sword soul phantom began to rise fiercely behind him. Boom! The golden sword soul phantom gave off a haughty, world-belittling, supreme sword essence as it made its appearance. For a while, it seemed to outshine the sun. There was a drastic change in the height and size of the golden sword soul phantom that just appeared. Originally only 18 zhang, 211 feet, tall, its height was now an impressive 24 zhang, 282 feet. This meant that it was comparable to several large mountains. In Jian Wushuang's hand appeared the triple kill sword, which he flung casually toward the void ahead, aided by the majestic sword soul power. Swish! The void unexpectedly emitted a violent wind-breaking sound, and instantly, an immaterial sword essence wave swept forth with an extremely powerful momentum. Jian Wushuang's countenance changed and his eyes revealed a look of pleasant surprise. Ha! My sword soul has greatly improved and become more powerful indeed. It should be remembered that in a month's time, the life-death duel between Jian Wushuang and Emperor Golden Snake was, as its name suggested, a fight he would either win or perish in. Any improvement to his strength would be extremely important to him, not to mention improvement to his sword soul, which had such an obvious effect on his strength. Emperor Fengshao has indeed given me a great gift. I must remember this favor. He thought to himself. Having gained a general understanding of Tao and a drastic improvement to his sword soul, Jian Wushuang immediately headed toward the holy place. In the monster exterminating pagoda of the holy place. The monster exterminating pagoda was the treasure vault of the Monster Exterminating League. All kinds of countless treasures belonging to the League were stored here, and they were all purchasable so long as one could pay enough monster cores. Jian Wushuang walked up to the counter. I need the 7th, 8th, and 9th cultivation levels of the bone fusion technique. Here are the monster cores to exchange for them. Jian Wushuang took out an interspatial ring. He had reaped huge earnings from the East Camp's large war and thus could afford 3 levels of the technique. However, he could not afford the monster cores needed for level 10. Chapter 549, A Life-Death Duel in the Bloodshed Valley. Chapter 549, A Life-Death Duel in the Bloodshed Valley. There were still 10 or so days to go before the life-death duel. Rather than idling, Jian Wushuang spent this time cultivating in Earth Core Palace. Jian Wushuang had used the greater part of the monster cores he obtained from the East Camp War to exchange for level 7 to 9 of the bone fusion technique. The remaining monster cores could barely afford access to level 3, let alone level 4, of Earth Core Palace. Hence, Jian Wushuang spent these days cultivating on level 2 of Earth Core Palace. The strength of the origin on level 2 naturally could not compare to that on level 4. Nevertheless, there was a substantial improvement in Jian Wushuang's origin enlightenment after the 10 or so days of meditation. Especially the slaughter origin. I've gained insight into 998 out of the 999 types of slaughter occults of the 6-story pagoda's first restriction. Only one remains. Jian Wushuang sat in the secret chamber with his brows slightly drawn. According to Di Jing, one would naturally pass the Tao threshold upon gaining an understanding of every slaughter occult of the 6-story pagoda's first restriction. However, Jian Wushuang did not see any sign of Tao enlightenment despite being only one step away. Di Jing's ancestors were almighty super experts outside the ancient world. He wouldn't lie to me. It seems that the final slaughter occult is the real key, he muttered. The final slaughter occult was the last step. However, Jian Wushuang could not gain insight into it despite meditating upon it. He thus understood that the final slaughter occult was a bottleneck. I now have a great understanding of the world origin and slaughter origin, way surpassing that of typical Cloud Realm experts. In fact, I feel that my origin enlightenment is enough to condense the 9th origin mark, which still doesn't show any sign of condensing nonetheless. He felt utterly helpless. However, what brought him more joy was that the triple kill sword made a breakthrough during his time in Earth Core Palace. The triple kill sword was a magic weapon of killing which was produced according to the heart-killing sword. Because of Leng Rushuang, it had been upgraded to a first-grade magic weapon early on in the Nanyang continent. Subsequently, its power continued to increase gradually to the limits for a first-grade magic weapon thanks to Jian Wushuang's adventures in the Divine Land and participation in vicious battles, throughout which he killed many experts. The opportunity for a genuine breakthrough was brought about by the blood of the demonic beasts which Jian Wushuang massacred using the triple kill sword on the Skyfire Plains. Upon breakthrough, the first-grade magic weapon became a Tao weapon and doubled in power. The life-death duel should be starting soon, right? Jian Wushuang suddenly stood up and left the secret chamber. He started to make his way toward the venue of the life-death duel. In the Bloodshed Valley of the Holy Place. The place was so named because of the life-death duel. The Monster Exterminating League was an alliance formed by countless human experts whose aim was to work together to fight against the demonic beasts. Although most of these experts were very united, there was bound to be a few internal conflicts and rivalries. Some of these rivalries could absolutely not be defused, and only ended in fatal fights. It was for this reason that the League established the life-death duel. Any expert under the command of the League, whether it be a divine general or a divine emperor, could apply for a life-death duel if he had an irresolvable grudge which could only be settled in a fatal fight. The duel could proceed as long as the League's highest tier of experts approved. It would then take place right here in the Bloodshed Valley. Lofty mountains surrounded the large and vast canyon, in the middle of which, however, was an extensive space for two divine experts to fight without restraint. Moreover, behind the mountains was a powerful restriction. This restriction was said to have been set up by two temple masters. Although they used minimal effort, it was impossible to break in a short amount of time even by a superior emperor. At this moment, levitating around the restriction were numerous experts who were looking through the transparent restriction toward the Bloodshed Valley. There was already a figure standing frostily on a void in the middle of the Bloodshed Valley. He was none other than Emperor Golden Snake. Gee, it's Emperor Golden Snake, one of the 108 divine emperors. Although life-death duels regularly take place in the Bloodshed Valley, most of them are between two divine generals. As for duels between divine emperors, an expert of this level is too valuable to the League's strength to risk perishing in duels, and so the temple masters wouldn't approve of duels between two divine emperors unless absolutely necessary. Divine emperors are therefore rarely seen in Bloodshed Valley, yet we see one today. It's a pity that the other contestant isn't a divine emperor but instead a feeble Saint Realm expert, and that it was Emperor Golden Snake who proposed the duel. This Saint Realm expert should be proud of the chance to fight a life-death duel against Emperor Golden Snake. In my opinion, Emperor Golden Snake is just picking on the weak. Isn't it a clear case of bullying for a dignified divine emperor to challenge a Saint Realm expert to a duel? I don't understand what those temple masters thought when they approved of it. I heard that Emperor Golden Snake only proposed the duel because the Saint Realm expert killed his son. There was an incomparable clamor outside the restriction as the divine generals casually chatted with one another. Opposite them were a few dozen figures who quietly levitated in the air. These were the divine emperors who had come to watch the duel. Hee, what a lively and crowded place this is today. Tian Wu, haven't you been hacking it in the monster territory? When did you come back? Elder Su, you've always been this hermit creature that disregarded the outside world. Why suddenly the spare time to watch this duel? Feng Shao, I heard that you have quite a good relationship with Jian Wushuang, is that true? The divine emperors too engaged in leisure conversations. There were yet more figures present in the uppermost void. These people were the temple masters who held the leadership of the Monster Exterminating League. Chapter 550, The Duel Begins. Chapter 550, The Duel Begins. In all, 9 out of the League's 33 temple masters were present. The others apparently did not have enough free time to come spectate. There have been countless life-death duels held since the establishment of the Monster Exterminating League. However, this is probably the first between a divine emperor and a Saint Realm expert, right? The absolute beauty, Temple Master Pure Moon, said while bathing in the sunlight and radiating her incomparable warmth. A duel between a divine emperor and a Saint Realm expert does seem a little too much. A burly man who carried a giant axe on his back stood with his arms crossed and his crimson brows slightly furrowed. Although 17 temple masters had approved of Emperor Golden Snake's proposal for a life-death duel, there was a small number of temple masters, including this burly man, who disapproved. Temple Master Iceberg, this life-death duel is all thanks to you. I'm really curious as to what price Golden Snake paid you such that you willingly got off your high horse to plead with each and every temple master. From what I know, the relationship between you two isn't close enough that you would naturally put in so much effort for him. Temple Master Pure Moon glanced at Temple Master Iceberg with a strange expression. Golden Snake regards me as his master and has always paid me great respect. Why can't I lend him a hand? Besides, although Jian Wushuang has unparalleled talent, he's after all just an outsider, and it's a matter of time before he leaves Monster Continent. Should I have helped him over someone who has dutifully served the League? That does make sense. Temple Master Pure Moon nodded and said no more. Nothing could be done. Given Jian Wushuang's outsider status, the League's temple masters naturally had to side with Emperor Golden Snake even if to varying extents. Look, Jian Wushuang has arrived. Temple Master Pure Moon suddenly raised her head. Together with the numerous divine emperors and divine generals outside the restriction, the present temple masters raised their heads one after another and looked toward the valley. On the vast void in the Bloodshed Valley, a beam of black flowing light whizzed past and quickly revealed a figure not too far in front of Emperor Golden Snake. Carrying the triple kill sword on his back, Jian Wushuang wore a slight smile on his face and crossed his arms. Jian Wushuang appears to be quite the confident sort, no? Temple Master Pure Moon was taken by surprise. Once he appeared in the Bloodshed Valley, the Saint Realm aura on his body began to spread without the slightest conceit. He's indeed only a Saint Realm expert. Although he's only a Saint Realm expert, there's a second-grade Divine General's token aura on his body. How's that possible? What's so impossible about that? Don't you know that a month ago, there was a mass slaughter of demonic beasts in the East Camp, during which Master Jian revealed his strength to be much greater than that of second-grade Divine Generals? Yes, I just returned from East Camp and did hear about that. Jian Wushuang is indeed an incredible super genius. What a pity that such a super genius is about to die. Sobbing and sighing noises filled the area around the Bloodshed Valley. However, the restriction completely sealed them off from reaching the battlefield. This allowed the two men in the battlefield, Jian Wushuang and Emperor Golden Snake, to focus completely on the duel. However, noises from within the battlefield did transmit outward. It was quiet within the valley. The only noise was that of a gentle passing breeze. Jian Wushuang and Emperor Golden Snake stood facing each other at a distance of 100 zhang, 1,094 feet. Jian Wushuang's expression was indifferent and his eyes carried no emotion. Conversely, Emperor Golden Snake stared at him with glacial eyes that conveyed a heinous resentment. "You're pretty brave," Emperor Golden Snake spoke in the frostiest of tones. "I'd thought you would flee to the territory occupied by demonic beasts and never return to the human world." "You're not good enough to scare me away," Jian Wushuang quipped nonchalantly. "Hee, those are some confident words, or should I say, self-flattery." A smile formed on the corner of Emperor Golden Snake's mouth. "If that's the case, I shall take your life away today. It'll count as revenge for my son even though it's a month late." "Revenge? Or maybe I'll send you to reunite with your son in the netherworld." Jian Wushuang sneered. "You can try." A grim-faced Emperor Golden Snake opened his mouth and extended his tongue to lick his lips, resembling a venomous snake. An upsurging aura gradually diffused from his body. "Come." With scorching eyes and an eager heart, Jian Wushuang clenched his fists tightly. He had previously exchanged blows with Su Ming, a divine emperor-level expert who possessed Tao enlightenment. At that time, he summoned all of his skill and effort but was nevertheless completely outclassed by the latter, for the gulf between them was too big. However, having gone through several months of cultivation in the monster continent, he was no longer the same as his former self. The current him longed for a life-death duel with a genuine divine emperor. Others may think that it's far-fetched for a Saint Realm expert to duel a divine emperor. But in my case, that isn't necessarily impossible. Let's fight. As Jian Wushuang involuntarily growled, an upsurging battle intent poured out of his body and shook the whole world. Emperor Golden Snake exhaled a breath and made eye contact with Jian Wushuang, producing a tangible flame. The next moment, swish. The figures of both men vanished simultaneously. They went missing at the same time. Huh? Outside the restriction, the spectating divine generals frantically looked over. Before they could discern the figures of Jian Wushuang and Emperor Golden Snake, two figures had already convened in the centermost of the void in the Bloodshed Valley. The triple kill sword was already in Jian Wushuang's hand. It promptly struck forth with irresistible force. Similarly, the pitch-black machete in Emperor Golden Snake's tight grip struck out. A sword shadow and a blade light instantly collided. The spectators were still frenziedly searching for the two figures when a violent boom erupted. Boom! The sound reverberated throughout the universe like a thunderclap that abruptly sounded from a fine and cloudless sky. Subsequently, the earth and mountains of the Bloodshed Valley began to quake violently. At the point where the collision took place, an almighty power formed into a huge wave which swept unbridled in all directions at an astonishing speed. Buzz! The wave spread downward and instantly sank into the ground beneath the duel. A huge pit with a diameter of nearly 100 zhang appeared in front of everyone. Chapter 551, Peak Battle Strength. Chapter 551, Peak Battle Strength. Good Lord! This power is incredible. Is this the strength of a divine emperor? Faced with a crater in the Bloodshed Valley that was over 1,000 feet deep, experts outside the restriction breathed gulps of air in terror. These effects were caused by what power remained. This meant that the original attack would have been much more powerful. More importantly, it was a fight between Emperor Golden Snake and a Saint Realm. The Saint Realm had been well matched with Emperor Golden Snake in the head-on exchange. At the center, the two terrible forces clashed in a frenzy. Staring at Jian Wushuang coldly, Emperor Golden Snake said, "Young man, I didn't expect that you'd improve again in the last month. In fact, you improved a lot. If I wasn't prepared, would I be foolish enough to have a life-or-death duel with you?" Jian Wushuang said with a cold smile. "Do you think you are strong enough now?" "Ridiculous." Emperor Golden Snake sneered at him. With a move of his wrist, he retrieved the black scimitar and ripped it out in the next second. It was a seemingly simple move, but only people who had perfectly control of their strength were able to do it. Jian Wushuang leaned back. The black scimitar missed him and skimmed over his clothes. Jian Wushuang leaped forward. His power peaked as his triple-kill sword slashed fiercely in the direction of Emperor Golden Snake. Swish! Emperor Golden Snake made a sudden dodge. Jian Wushuang's longsword missed him but cut the residual shadow Emperor Golden Snake had left. A sudden cold wind blew as the scimitar flew back towards Jian Wushuang's head. Whoosh! A cold and sharp blade light streaked against Jian Wushuang's neck. But this drew no blood. Jian Wushuang's figure vanished gradually. That had been Jian Wushuang's residual shadow. On the battlefield, both Jian Wushuang and Emperor Golden Snake's speeds reached their zenith. Whoosh! Countless residual shadows moved quickly in the air. Experts outside the restriction were stupefied. Their eyes were open wide and they were trying to follow the battle. However, this was in vain as they were merely first-grade divine generals and second-grade divine generals. Their speed. They're too fast. I've always known Emperor Golden Snake was fast, but how could Jian Wushuang, a Saint Realm, be so fast? The spectators were filled with amazement. Even divine emperors marveled at the scene before them. I can't believe it. Jian Wushuang is no slower than a normal divine emperor. It's his body. His strong body helps his speed. I can see that. It seems it's not easy for Golden Snake to kill Jian Wushuang. It was supposed to be easy for a divine emperor to kill a Saint Realm. However, based on the current situation, they had their doubts. They wondered whether Emperor Golden Snake would be able to kill Jian Wushuang. Whoosh! Whoosh! The two figures reappeared in the void. Emperor Golden Snake, show your full strength, or it will be boring for me to kill you, Jian Wushuang said coolly. He was aware that Emperor Golden Snake had not fought with his full strength. It had only been a competition of speed just now. Similarly, Jian Wushuang had held back. As you wish. Emperor Golden Snake began to unleash his full powers. Shining gray light glinted from the black scimitar in his hand and a terrible power gathered around it. Jian Wushuang narrowed his eyes. He had once had a brief fight with Emperor Golden Snake in the East Camp. Then, when Emperor Golden Snake had intended to strike a killing blow, the black scimitar had made a similar change. Fortunately, Emperor Xieying had stopped him. However, it was a life-or-death duel this time. No one would stop Emperor Golden Snake. Emperor Golden Snake is using his trump card. Sovereigns who were gathered in the air outside the restriction also grew grave when they noticed the black scimitar's change. "I've seen this move, it's powerful," Emperor Fengxiao said. Emperor Fengxiao's acknowledgement meant that the move was really powerful. Golden Snake has always been secretive. Even when he fights against demonic beasts, he seldom displays his full skills. It's rare to see him use his trump card. No one would have expected him to use it against a Saint Realm today. As a Saint Realm, Jian Wushuang should be proud that Golden Snake isn't holding back in this battle, even if he is ultimately killed. What a pity. If he wasn't an outsider but born in Monster Continent, things would be different. They all sighed as they imagined Jian Wushuang being killed. This was the natural order of things. A Saint Realm was much weaker than a Divine Emperor. They thought it extraordinary that Jian Wushuang had forced Emperor Golden Snake to play his trump card. They had never expected more. On the battlefield, Emperor Golden Snake raised his black scimitar slowly, on which an enormous power was gathering. The spectators were quiet. People outside the restriction looked on with bated breath. As he faced Emperor Golden Snake, Jian Wushuang clearly felt the overwhelming threat of the black scimitar. Battle intent in his eyes rose suddenly and sharply. "Let's fight head-on," Jian Wushuang suddenly shouted, and his spiritual power swelled. A sharp light materialized from behind him. A stream of supreme sword essence erupted. Next, a 60-meter-high golden sword soul phantom rose behind Jian Wushuang. The golden sword soul phantom stood on the top of the world with an unyielding and oppressive aura, with supreme sword essence sweeping across it. Jian Wushuang stood under the golden sword soul phantom like a war god. The long sword in his hand had transformed. The triple-kill sword had been replaced by heart-killing sword. His blood-fire domain began to spread out as well. Azura secret skill, road to the underworld. Azura secret skill, bridge of helplessness. All his skills were displayed simultaneously. Jian Wushuang's battle strength had peaked. Chapter 552, Overwhelming Superiority in Strength. Chapter 552, Overwhelming Superiority in Strength. Jian Wushuang, go to hell, Emperor Golden Snake muttered softly. Following this, he slashed down fiercely with the black scimitar that he had raised high above him. Abruptly, darkness fell. Only a brilliant stake of black blade light remained that lit up the area. In that instant, the light from the scimitar became a focal point. "So many people in the world want to kill me, you're not qualified to be one of them." Jian Wushuang's cold voice reverberated through the bloodshed valley. In the next moment, he drew out his sword. Without a sound, its sword shadow moved forward with destructive power. It was even more dazzling than the black blade light. The fourth move of heart-killing sword technique, sheer shadow. This was a powerful sword skill displayed through heart-killing sword. While Jian Wushuang hadn't brought the heart-killing sword's power into full play, this move shocked the spectators. Outside the restriction, divine generals, divine emperors and temple masters held their breaths as they looked on in anticipation. All eyes were fixed on the events unfolding on the battlefield. They witnessed the two terrible forces collide in the bloodshed valley. Unexpectedly, there was no fierce collision or deafening roar. The winner had been determined as soon as the two forces collided. Everyone present, including the divine emperors and temple masters, were wide-eyed as they looked on in disbelief. How could this be? A divine emperor roared. Impossible. Temple Master Pure Moon exclaimed with eyes filled with amazement. The boy, even Temple Master Golden Mountain, who had thus far maintained a calm and expressionless facade, looked visibly stunned. When the two forces collided, the dark blade light from Emperor Golden Snake had been totally destroyed by Jian Wushuang's sword shadow. It had stood no chance against Jian Wushuang's attack. After the sword shadow had crushed the blade light, it had continued its charge towards Emperor Golden Snake and struck him heavily. The impact had thrown him against a mountain at the edge of Bloodshed Valley. Bang! Emperor Golden Snake rammed into the stone wall, leaving a crater-like depression where he landed. Silence descended. Not a sound could be heard. Outside the restriction, experts watching the fight were stunned. They couldn't believe what they had seen. It was amazing that a Saint Realm had forced a Divine Emperor to display his trump card. All of them had thought that Jian Wushuang would die when Emperor Golden Snake displayed his ultimate move. The sovereign's eyes had been filled with pity when they looked at Jian Wushuang. But now? Did he die? No. Instead of being killed, he had completely overpowered Emperor Golden Snake in the head-on fight. Right, Golden Snake had been completely overpowered. Emperor Golden Snake was far weaker than Jian Wushuang in offensive power. Incredible. A Saint Realm defeated a Divine Emperor. I don't know what to say. Who said that Jian Wushuang would die? Speechless, the Divine Emperors exchanged shocked glances. What they had seen exceeded their expectations. They had never heard that a Saint Realm could be so strong. In fact, only Jian Wushuang himself was unsurprised. Power of Tao is far above the origin. After mastering bone fusion techniques level 9, my physical strength alone is almost strong as that of second-grade divine generals. Besides, I have sword soul power. All these make me that powerful. Besides that, I also displayed the fourth move of heart-killing sword technique with heart-killing sword. And Azura's secret skill, the realm and bridge of helplessness. How could Emperor Golden Snake withstand all these moves? Except for power of Tao, I'm stronger than Golden Snake in other aspects. Jian Wushuang looked at Emperor Golden Snake in surprise. Emperor Golden Snake had been hit by his sword essence power. Even if he had a strong body, it was impossible that he wasn't hurt at all. This guy. Jian Wushuang narrowed his eyes. Outside the restriction, Divine Emperors reacted in surprise. How could Golden Snake not get hurt after being hit like that? It's Tao. Emperor Fengxiao said gravely. All eyes turned to Emperor Fengxiao. Emperor Fengxiao said grimly, Phantom, it's Phantom Tao. It's formed from Saber Principle. Though not pure, it's rare. I hadn't expected that he had comprehended Gale Saber Principle and Phantom Saber Principle at the same time. Two Tao at the same time, and he is much better at Phantom Saber Principle. Just now, he dodged Jian Wushuang's sword shadow using Phantom Saber Principle. That's why he didn't get hurt. This guy. Emperor Fengxiao's face fell. Hearing Emperor Fengxiao's words, the Divine Emperors were shocked. Did he comprehend two Tao? This Emperor Golden Snake. Emperor Golden Snake is secretive. Chapter 553, Triple Phantom Saber Move. Chapter 553, Triple Phantom Saber Move. He concealed it so deeply. The temple masters in the void also looked at Emperor Golden Snake in surprise. Among the 108 divine emperors, Emperor Golden Snake had always been low-key and seldom fought with others. In his confrontations with demonic beasts, he had only used Gale's Saber Principle. Therefore, the people of Monster Exterminating League, including the divine emperors, had thought that he was just an ordinary divine emperor. No one had expected that Emperor Golden Snake had comprehended two Tao simultaneously. More importantly, his understanding of Phantom Saber Principle was more profound than they had guessed. Why did he keep it under wraps? Temple Master Pure Moon frowned. Even Temple Master Golden Mountain, who knew Emperor Golden Snake well, was surprised. He hadn't known that Emperor Golden Snake had comprehended Phantom Saber principle and couldn't understand why he had kept that fact under wraps. Monster Exterminating League was a united organization and Emperor Golden Snake had no deadly enemies. Why then did he hide the extent of his skills? There must be a reason. After the duel, I will ask him. Temple Master Golden Mountain told himself. On the battlefield, Jian Wushuang stared coldly at Emperor Golden Snake. It seems they all look down on you. Jian Wushuang said in a hostile tone, remembering what Emperor Fengshao had told him. Emperor Fengshao had warned him that few knew Emperor Golden Snake's real strength because he had always been low-key. This was indeed the case. Once I display Phantom Saber principle, I will have endless trouble. To avenge my son's death, I have no choice. Emperor Golden Snake's face was sullen. Phantom Saber principle was his last trump card and he would not have used it unless absolutely necessary. In the Monster Exterminating League, no one, not even those close to him, knew about this. He wasn't planning on using it, but now he had to. Boy, you should be proud. Emperor Golden Snake said in a deep voice as he stared at Jian Wushuang. I created triple Phantom Saber move but I've never displayed it in front of others. You are the first. A death caused by it is a worthy one. Triple Phantom Saber move. Jian Wushuang's glare froze. Watch carefully. Emperor Golden Snake was so confident of his triple Phantom Saber move that he preempted Jian Wushuang before he made his move. Jian Wushuang's face was grim. Emperor Golden Snake was still holding his black scimitar. At this moment, he slashed it at will. As the black scimitar was slashed from a distance of 30 meters, the dark sharp light had reached Jian Wushuang. What? Jian Wushuang's expression suddenly darkened. Too fast. He was shocked by its speed. It was as if Emperor Golden Snake had slashed the sword right in front of him, rather than at a distance of 30 meters. The attack was so sudden that Jian Wushuang had no time to use his swordsmanship and gather power. Instead, he instinctively raised his sword. Bang! The impact threw Jian Wushuang off but he regained his footing after a while. Quick reaction. Emperor Golden Snake stared at Jian Wushuang with ice-cold eyes. That's just the first move. Now comes the second. Jian Wushuang looked grave as he stared at Emperor Golden Snake. He was on high alert. Jian Wushuang was still recovering from his shock. The first move had been fast, indubitably, the second would be faster. Whoosh! Emperor Golden Snake moved like a phantom. As Jian Wushuang saw Emperor Golden Snake move, a black light which had been less than a meter away rushed towards his head. This strike was faster and more terrible than the first. At such a close distance, there was no room for Jian Wushuang to use his heart-killing sword. He could only raise it to his chest. Clang! The black light struck the heart-killing sword. Its impact numbed Jian Wushuang's arms, which nearly caused him to drop his sword. Jian Wushuang retreated a few steps from the force of the attack. How could he be so fast? Jian Wushuang's eyes were filled with shock. At least he had been able to slash his sword to resist the first move. However, he had not been able to do so to meet the second move. What about the third move? It's great that you have fended off those attacks, but that won't be enough. The third move is the most powerful. You must die. Emperor Golden Snake made this pronouncement coldly, as though he had just sentenced Jian Wushuang to death. Jian Wushuang held his breath. The experts outside the restriction watched in tense silence. They also wanted to witness for themselves the strength of the last move. As the spectators watched, Emperor Golden Snake suddenly moved. Whoosh! 8 Emperor Golden Snakes appeared in the air. These were 8 Emperor Golden Snakes, rather than his residual shadows. The figures besieged Jian Wushuang. God! What's that? 8 Emperor Golden Snakes. Experts outside the restriction were stunned. Phantom, 8 phantoms. Has he mastered the Phantom Saber principle so perfectly? Emperor Feng Shao exclaimed. On the battlefield, 8 Emperor Golden Snakes surrounded Jian Wushuang. Suddenly, they raised their black scimitars in concert with cold smiles. The 8 Emperor's Golden Snakes attacked Jian Wushuang simultaneously. He wasn't able to tell which was the original body of Emperor Golden Snake. The black scimitars continued their fervent slashes. As the attacks grew faster and stronger, Jian Wushuang couldn't tell where the blade light came from. He discovered its source when he felt a coldness at his back. By then, it was too late. Chapter 554, The Last Step. Chapter 554, The Last Step. Ice-cold blade light from behind him stabbed towards his heart. The attack had happened too quickly. When Jian Wushuang realized what was happening, the blade light had been less half a centimeter away him. It was too close to escape. There was nowhere to run to. Since I can't escape from it, let me face it. A crazy thought flashed in Jian Wushuang's mind and he tried to face the incoming attack with his body. Immediately, his spiritual power surged and a strong spiritual power shield surrounded his heart. Go to hell. Emperor Golden Snake's face was ferocious and his eyes were filled with strong killing intent. The sharp black scimitar stabbed Jian Wushuang's heart. Clang! A clash resounded as power undulated violently in the air. Almost immediately, heavy wind and a storm materialized. Experts outside the restriction stared at the battlefield's center. There, the 8 Emperor Golden Snakes had become one. Emperor Golden Snake's original body held on tightly to his black scimitar with its blade pushed against Jian Wushuang's heart. Space and time froze. Everything stopped. What? Emperor Golden Snake's resentful eyes were full of astonishment now. He looked at Jian Wushuang's back in shock. Jian Wushuang's clothes had been torn, revealing a scarlet leather armor. This was the blood Kylin leather armor that Jian Wushuang had obtained in Heaven Wing City. Though blood Kylin leather armor was hard, it had still been pierced by the black scimitar. Having gotten past the armor, the black scimitar would have pierced Jian Wushuang's heart. However, it had stopped when upon entering Jian Wushuang's flesh. Stuck in Jian Wushuang's flesh and blood, the black scimitar couldn't move forward. It was as though a barrier had stopped the black scimitar. This. Experts outside the restriction were stunned. Emperor Golden Snake's most powerful move had merely injured Jian Wushuang's skin. The scimitar had not gone deeper. What a powerful body! Everyone, including the temple masters, were shocked. Though they had completed bone fusion techniques level 9, they believed that they would be dead if they had to face a similar attack from Emperor Golden Snake. But Jian Wushuang, a saint realm, had not died. Such a powerful body. They didn't know that Jian Wushuang had not only mastered bone fusion techniques level 9, but more importantly, he had practiced heavenly creation skill. He had reached venerable master level. What differentiated him from the others was his powerful body. Beside his strong outer body, every muscle, bone and cell of his body was much stronger than a normal person. The scimitar had broken his spiritual power shield, blood Kylin leather armor and even his skin, but it couldn't go any deeper. For the scimitar to pierce Jian Wushuang's heart, Emperor Golden Snake's offensive power would need to be twice what it was now. Over the void, Emperor Golden Snake had backed off with a look of disbelief. Jian Wushuang, who was now attracting many incredulous stares, closed his eyes. Why did he close his eyes? He closed his eyes. What is he doing? Is he trying to recover from the injury? The onlookers were puzzled. Some guessed he was trying to recover as he was heavily wounded. Only Jian Wushuang knew that their guesses were wrong. He had fended off the attacks perfectly and had not suffered any serious injuries. He closed his eyes because enlightenment had entered his mind. Yes, It was enlightenment. While facing Emperor Golden Snake's scimitar, he had a sense of crisis and had tried his best to fend it off. Then enlightenment appeared. Level 1 restriction of 6-story pagoda had 999 slaughter occult. Jian Wushuang had mastered 998. The last one had always troubled him. Now, he finally understood it. I finally understand. Jian Wushuang murmured. Madness in a hopeless situation. The sudden enlightenment helped Jian Wushuang master the last slaughter occult. Jian Wushuang now understood all 999 slaughter occult of level 1 restriction of 6-story pagoda. With the new understanding, he unlocked level 1 restriction and found its inner rule. That's it. That's why Master Di Jing said that I would enter Dao as long as I unlocked level 1 restriction. It's the way from slaughter origin to slaughter Dao. Jian Wushuang smiled softly. By unlocking the restriction, he had finished his last step to enter Dao. Soon, slaughter origin turned into slaughter Dao and appeared in front of Jian Wushuang. The process went smoothly. In a short moment, the process was completed. Onlookers saw Jian Wushuang close his eyes but didn't know what he was doing. Emperor Golden Snake clenched his fists. He had a diabolical look on his face. Impossible! He shouted, and the 8th Emperor Golden Snake reappeared and rushed towards Jian Wushuang. Chapter 555, Shock. Chapter 555, Shock. Go to hell. The 8 figures were in a frenzy. The ice-cold black light slashed directly at Jian Wushuang's head this time. At this very moment, Jian Wushuang opened his eyes. A sharp light flashed in his eyes. This is the original body. Jian Wushuang looked at one of the figures. He had not been able to identify the original body before he entered Dao. Now, he could do it in one glance. I thought he was so fast, now, I think his speed is mediocre. Jian Wushuang sneered, then made his move. Nobody had expected this. Whoosh! The ice-cold black light approached Jian Wushuang's ear and tried to cut at his head. Emperor Golden Snake narrowed his eyes and stared at Jian Wushuang. As he had expected, Jian Wushuang didn't react to the light and could only watch it passively. The ice-cold black light passed through his head easily. Oh! Emperor Golden Snake froze. Experts outside the restriction were stunned. That's a residual shadow. When? Emperor Golden Snake was stunned as he had not noticed Jian Wushuang moving. Suddenly, an emotionless voice whispered in his ears, Emperor Golden Snake, your speed is just so. As Jian Wushuang's words died, Emperor Golden Snake turned and saw Jian Wushuang's sword flying towards him. Emperor Golden Snake raised his black scimitar to deflect the attack. Bang! A loud bang sounded. Spectators watched on as Emperor Golden Snake was thrown off by the impact to the edge of Bloodshed Valley. What happened? Emperor Golden Snake's face fell. He could now feel that Jian Wushuang was different. As experts outside the restriction looked at Jian Wushuang, they also realized that something in Jian Wushuang had changed. On the battlefield, Jian Wushuang held his sword in one hand. The golden sword soul phantom behind him continued to spread supreme sword essence. As Jian Wushuang looked at Emperor Golden Snake, his surging killing intent was palpable. Emperor Golden Snake, thank you. Jian Wushuang said. Why are you thanking me? Emperor Golden Snake's look was confused. If not for you, I don't know when I would have made a breakthrough. Jian Wushuang smiled. Thank you, I will kill you with my best move which I mastered just now. As Jian Wushuang spoke, he slowly raised the heart-killing sword. There was dead silence. Everyone held their breaths as they stared at Jian Wushuang. They now understood that Jian Wushuang had made a breakthrough. But his aura had not changed, which meant that he was still a saint realm. Jian Wushuang stared calmly at Emperor Golden Snake. The heart-killing sword shook as it gathered more power. Then, Jian Wushuang slashed his sword at Emperor Golden Snake. The move was simple and appeared to be slow, as though there was no energy behind it. But right at that moment, a sword essence wave swept over rapidly. It was the fifth move of heart-killing sword technique. Sword Ripple. He had not mastered it until he entered Slaughter Dao. The sword essence wave moved much faster than Emperor Golden Snake's strongest move. At the edge of the battlefield, Emperor Golden Snake had again transformed into 8 figures. At the approach of the sword essence wave, the figures tried to resist, but the wave swept through them like fallen leaves blown by the autumn wind. The sword essence wave cleaved the 8 Emperor Golden Snakes and continued its sweep towards the restriction. There was a buzzing sound as the wave met against powerful resistance from the restriction. However, the sword essence wave still left in it a huge hole. Experts who stood outside the restriction watching the fight didn't notice the wave's approach. They had thought that the restriction was not easy to break as it had been built jointly by 2 temple masters. Even a superior emperor could barely break it. Unexpectedly, Jian Wushuang's sword had been able to do it as it continued its onslaught after killing Emperor Golden Snake. The sword essence wave continued along its path and onlookers in that direction naturally became targets. No! Hurry and escape! Cries of panic filled the air. It was fortunate that Temple Master Pure Moon arrived in time to fend it off, so that no one got hurt. Calm was restored after the sword essence wave dissipated. But for many of those present, their emotions were in turmoil. Everyone looked at Jian Wushuang in shock. Jian Wushuang's face was expressionless. Near where he stood, Emperor Golden Snake's original body had been cut and he began to fall powerlessly on the ground. Am I going to die? Emperor Golden Snake appeared confused. Things had changed so fast. He didn't know what had happened during the time he closed his eyes. He had increased his strength so much in such a short period. A terrible sword move had killed him. I was supposed to avenge my son in this life-death duel. I didn't expect to dig a grave for myself. Jian Wushuang, I never thought I would be defeated by you. But don't get too complacent. Even if I will die, I won't make it easy on you. With his last breath, Emperor Golden Snake took out a jade slip and sent a message. Master, I have a compass, it's a treasure. If you want to get the ancient world token, the compass is the key. Chapter 556, Perfect Slaughter Dao. Chapter 556, Perfect Slaughter Dao. On the battlefield, Emperor Golden Snake died and his body fell to the ground. Jian Wushuang walked to Emperor Golden Snake's corpse, taking away his black scimitar and interspatial ring. After doing that, he looked around. Outside the battlefield, the onlookers were silent. But their emotions were in turmoil. No one had thought that Jian Wushuang would survive the life-death duel. But it turned out. Jian Wushuang was alive and Emperor Golden Snake was dead. A divine emperor had been killed by a saint realm. Shock, bewilderment. They struggled to calm their thoughts. In the void where divine emperors had gathered, the sovereigns were also shocked. They had been surprised to see Emperor Golden Snake show his real strength, his comprehension of Phantom Saber principle and triple Phantom Saber moves. They knew that Emperor Golden Snake's real strength was remarkable, even though he was slightly weaker than superior emperors. Emperor Golden Snake's reveal of the true extent of his skills meant that he was nearly as strong as superior emperors. Among the 108 divine emperors of Monster Exterminating League, only Emperor Fengxiao and a few others were stronger than him. There had been no doubt that he would prevail in the battle. But no one had expected that Jian Wushuang to kill Emperor Golden Snake. The terrible sword move which had split the restriction after killing Emperor Golden Snake still held them in shock and awe. That sword move had been too terrifying. No divine emperor present dared to say that they would be able to fend it off without being wounded. If I tried my best, I would have to slash twice to split the restriction. But Jian Wushuang did it with one sword move, which had been weakened by killing Emperor Golden Snake. He makes me feel a bit diminished by comparison. Emperor Fengxiao said, eyes sparkling. He had thought highly of Jian Wushuang and had hoped that he would survive. Luckily, Jian Wushuang's performance in the life-death duel exceeded his expectations. If I'm right, Jian Wushuang made a breakthrough. That is Dao. That's why there was a tremendous increase in his strength. Emperor Xieying said seriously, he entered Dao. It is. Besides, it is perfect, pure and different from our Dao, which is built on sword principle and saber principle. Emperor Fengxiao nodded heavily. Perfect Dao. Divine emperors marveled Jian Wushuang's accomplishment and looked at him in admiration. 9 temple masters stood at the top high void. All of them were shocked. Slaughter Dao, perfect slaughter Dao. Good, a saint realm evolved perfect slaughter Dao from origin without the help of sword principle, Jian Wushuang. An exceptional genius. Temple Master Pure Moon praised. Perfect and pure origin Dao, it is stronger than our Dao which built on weapon Dao. Among us, only Wushan's earth Dao is on par with his. They looked at a burly man with a giant axe on his back, who had previously defended Jian Wushuang against an injustice. The burly man smiled, though earth Dao is perfect and pure, it is a defensive Dao. Jian Wushuang's slaughter Dao is the strongest in origin Dao. Therefore, he is far stronger than me in offensive power. Different Dao had different power. Jian Wushuang's slaughter Dao was far more powerful than the burly man's earth Dao in offensive power. Before Jian Wushuang comprehended Dao, his battle strength was on par with a normal divine emperor. Now, his strength has increased so much that he is definitely as strong as a superior emperor. In terms of offensive power, it is possible that no one in Monster Exterminating League is better than him. Temple Master Pure Moon said. Those present nodded in agreement. They had seen how Jian Wushuang had killed Emperor Golden Snake. That power was amazing. Iceberg, you did so much to set up the duel. You gained nothing. On the contrary, you suffered a double loss. Temple Master Pure Moon looked at Temple Master Iceberg, who appeared stunned. Temple Master Iceberg's countenance was an accurate reflection of his thoughts. He was stunned not by Emperor Golden Snake's death, but by the message Emperor Golden Snake had given him. The message had been sent to him. A compass. Golden Snake had a compass. It's a treasure that concerns the ancient world token. Temple Master Iceberg was mulling over Emperor Golden Snake's message. If you want to get ancient world token, the compass is the key. He had never told me about it before. Luckily, it's not too late. Temple Master Iceberg narrowed his eyes and looked at Jian Wushuang. At the same time, Temple Master Pure Moon made a move and appeared on the battlefield. The life-death duel is over. Jian Wushuang, follow me. Temple Master Pure Moon's voice resounded through the area. Jian Wushuang nodded, followed Temple Master Pure Moon and left. The experts in the Bloodshed Valley began to depart as they continued to discuss the duel. It was over. The life-death duel which had attracted so many experts to watch had finally ended. The result was beyond everyone's expectations. Jian Wushuang was alive and Emperor Golden Snake was dead. A saint realm had killed a divine emperor in a head-on fight. The amazing story spread rapidly from the holy place to 8 cities and to every tribe and corner of the monster continent. Within a day, Jian Wushuang had become a popular topic of conversation among the human group on the monster continent. Chapter 557, Sword Emperor. Chapter 557, Sword Emperor. Jian Wushuang stood in the meeting hall while the rest of the figures were sitting on chairs. These figures were all temple masters, and there were 9 of them in total. The only person here that Jian Wushuang knew was Temple Master Pure Moon. He had never met the other 8 temple masters, who, at this very moment, were staring at him as if he was a monster. He comprehended the slaughter Dao while still in the Saint realm and had the battle strength of a superior emperor, which was simply incredible. It's a pity that such a peerless genius is an outsider and not originally from our monster continent. The temple masters whispered. Jian Wushuang. Temple Master Pure Moon suddenly spoke, "You killed Emperor Golden Snake during the life-death duel, so your strength is already equal to a superior emperor. Hence, you can become a divine emperor of our monster exterminating league in place of Golden Snake. Are you willing to take the position?" If Jian Wushuang had been from the monster continent, he would definitely agree to become a divine emperor without any hesitation. But he was an outsider, so he had to personally agree before they could appoint him as a divine emperor. Divine emperor? Jian Wushuang thought for a moment before nodding. Yes. His strength had a lot of room for improvement and he was not in a hurry to leave the monster continent. Furthermore, he wanted to make use of some resources from the Monster Exterminating League to enhance his strength. Therefore, he definitely had to become a divine emperor. Being a divine emperor comes with some obligations that I hope you can meet. After all, the resources of the Monster Exterminating League can't be used for free, said Temple Master Pure Moon. No problem. Jian Wushuang nodded again. It was natural that he would have to perform certain duties if he wanted to receive rewards. Since you're a divine emperor now, you can give yourself a title, said Temple Master Pure Moon. All of the divine emperors and temple masters of the Monster Exterminating League used their own titles, so few people knew their real names. Title, Jian Wushuang thought for a while before he said with a smile, in my hometown, experts at the divine emperor level are called sovereigns. Plus, my surname, Jian, means sword and I'm good at sword principle. So, from today on, I'll be known as Sword Emperor. Sword Emperor. Temple Master Pure Moon nodded slightly. I'll quickly spread the news that you have been appointed as a divine emperor. After that, it won't take long for the information to spread to the human population and the demonic beasts. Everyone on the monster continent will hear about your title, Sword Emperor. Jian Wushuang gave a faint smile, but he didn't really care. Sword Emperor. Just then, a bearded middle-aged man, who was sitting on one of the seats, opened his mouth. After hearing this middle-aged man's voice, Temple Master Pure Moon and the other temple masters had strange expressions on their faces. The middle-aged man was none other than Temple Master Iceberg. If it had not been for him, the life-death duel between Jian Wushuang and Emperor Golden Snake wouldn't have even happened. Do you have anything to say, Temple Master Iceberg? Temple Master Pure Moon asked with great interest. Jian Wushuang's eyes narrowed slightly as he immediately looked at Temple Master Iceberg. Ha. Temple Master Iceberg smiled with a soft face as he looked at Jian Wushuang in a very friendly manner. I just want to apologize to you, Sword Emperor. Apologize? The other temple master's expressions changed a bit. Jian Wushuang's expression also changed slightly. Alas. Temple Master Iceberg let out a light sigh and said, I watched Golden Snake grow up, step by step, and he had always been extremely respectful to me. When he came to me, begging, I promised to give him a hand for the sake of the respect he had shown me all these years. I was wrong, but I hope you don't take it amiss, Sword Emperor. If you're discontented with me, say it out. I can offer some treasures or monster cores as compensation. Temple Master Iceberg's words were very sincere as if he was really apologizing to Jian Wushuang. His behavior greatly surprised Temple Master Pure Moon and the others. Chapter 558, A Mysterious Compass. Chapter 558, A Mysterious Compass. Sword Emperor, hear me out. Temple Master Iceberg started telling his story. Golden Snake was a junior of mine, and I once gave him a token. It might not have any value, but it means a lot to me. Now that Golden Snake has died and the token is in your hands, I was hoping that you would return it to me. Of course, I'll satisfy any condition you have for returning it to me, Temple Master Iceberg said sincerely. Jian Wushuang pondered over what to do after hearing these words. A token? Why does he value this token so much? What token are you referring to? Jian Wushuang asked. It's a compass. I think it's in Golden Snake's interspatial ring, Temple Master Iceberg answered. A compass? Jian Wushuang asked and smiled. Temple Master Iceberg, you know that I've just experienced a life-death duel and haven't been able to check the ring yet, so I have no idea if the compass is in the ring. How about I go back first and search through the ring carefully? I'll reply to you if I find it, okay? There was an imperceptible surprise in Temple Master Iceberg's eyes, but he still nodded. Fine. Then, I'll look forward to hearing your reply. Okay. Jian Wushuang nodded and left. As he watched Jian Wushuang's retreating figure, the gentle and smiling expression on Temple Master Iceberg's face suddenly became deadpan, then a sliver of light flashed in his eyes. This boy is quite alert. Temple Master Iceberg clenched his fist. Maybe I was too impatient and aroused his suspicion. In the following days, it would be better to wait patiently for his reply. The more impatient I behave, the more suspicious he will be. Temple Master Iceberg's eyes became even more chilling. He was determined to get the compass because it was related to the ancient world token. Whatever it takes, I have to get that compass. After leaving Temple Master Iceberg's place, Jian Wushuang immediately found an empty secret chamber and began to check Emperor Golden Snake's interspatial ring. There were many treasures in the ring, including 2 rank 9 monster cores. After a careful search, Jian Wushuang found the compass. It was yellow, rusty, and about the size of a palm, with a chip on the edge that made it seem even more ancient. The compass was made of the same ordinary materials that were used in making magic weapons. Is this the compass Temple Master Iceberg wants? Jian Wushuang frowned. Since this compass is something that Temple Master Iceberg values so much, it should be more extraordinary. I don't understand why he apologized to me just to get this item. Jian Wushuang observed the compass and found nothing special about it. The compass was very common both in its look and material. Nobody would even notice it if it were in a market. Could it be that the secret lies inside the compass? Jian Wushuang pondered and then submerged his consciousness into the compass. Normally, important information was recorded inside jade slips and tokens, so it required one to read them using their consciousness. However, it turned out that Jian Wushuang was wrong. He could read nothing inside the compass. What's wrong with it? Were Temple Master Iceberg's words about the compass being just a normal and useless token true? He wants it just because it has a special meaning to him. Jian Wushuang was rather confused. However, he quickly turned down that idea. If it is a special token, why did he give it to Emperor Golden Snake? There must be some secrets hidden in the compass that I failed to notice. Whatever, the compass is mine now. Temple Master Iceberg has nothing to do with it. Jian Wushuang put the compass back in the ring. The next moment, he began studying the Slaughter Dao. Because of the 6-story pagoda, he had made progress in comprehending the Slaughter Dao, which was proven to be much more powerful than Emperor Golden Snake's Phantom Saber principle. He even found the Slaughter Dao more powerful than the Waterdrop Sword principle, which Emperor Fengxiao studied, the Illusory Sword principle, which Su Ming studied, and the Heart Sword principle, which Blind Emperor studied. Those people might have a better comprehension in the principles than Jian Wushuang did, but in terms of pure power, the Slaughter Dao surpassed them all. While those principles were a mixture of the origin and sword principle or saber principle, the Slaughter Dao came purely from the origin. With his doubt in mind, Jian Wushuang immersed himself in studying. As Jian Wushuang was digging into the slaughter Dao, the news of him killing Emperor Golden Snake and becoming a divine emperor in the Monster Exterminating League spread throughout the human populations, as well as the entire continent. His name, Sword Emperor, was memorized by everyone. He was the only divine emperor who was in the Saint Realm on the Monster Continent. Along an unbroken ridge in human territory, there was a vast palace hidden underground. In that palace, a black-robed elder was reading the latest intelligence with squinted eyes. Sword Emperor Jian Wushuang. As a Saint Realm expert, he is as powerful as a superior emperor. What an impressive kid. Human beings really can be talented. Luckily, he is an outsider from another plane world, so he's not likely to be a threat to us even if he grows more powerful someday. Otherwise, we would have to eliminate such a peerless genius as soon as possible. The elder's words revealed his identity. He was a monster spy who had slipped into the human population. The palace he was in was an important information station for those monster spies. Well, Emperor Golden Snake, since you were a divine emperor who died at the hands of another human, you really saved us a lot of trouble. The elder continued reading the information regarding the life-death duel between Jian Wushuang and Emperor Golden Snake. Chapter 559, Emperor's Order. Chapter 559, Emperor's Order. Oh. Emperor Golden Snake had been hiding his true power. This fact aroused the black-robed elder's interest, but he was instantly stunned when he learned that Emperor Golden Snake had comprehended the Phantom Saber principle and displayed the terrifying triple Phantom Saber moves. Phantom Dao. So he is the human emperor that crystal-armored monster emperor has been looking for? The elder was so astonished that his glowing red eyes almost popped out of his head. He read through the report carefully once again and studied the profile of Emperor Golden Snake before finally coming to a conclusion. Although Emperor Golden Snake had comprehended the Phantom Dao, he hid it from the others and kept a low profile. It wasn't until the life-death duel with Jian Wushuang that he was finally forced to expose these techniques. The elder's eyes sparkled. Right. Emperor Golden Snake is the only human expert who mastered the Phantom Dao, so he must be the one crystal-armored monster emperor has been looking for. Finally, crystal-armored monster emperor can get him. However, he is already dead. The elder pondered. Whatever, it's better to report the news to crystal-armored monster emperor first. The elder immediately sent a message to crystal-armored monster emperor. The monster's territory was much more vast than the human's territory. In a certain part of the territory, there was a large ancient forest, which was home to a group of horrible monsters known as the Crystal-Armored Monster Clan. At the center of the forest, there was a cave mansion that led to the underground. A sudden loud shout broke the silence inside the mansion. Ha! After searching for so many years, we have finally tracked down that damn human emperor. The voice was domineering, with a hint of joy and excitement mixed in. It was also so loud that it resounded through the area and disturbed the tranquility of the forest. I never thought that Emperor Golden Snake would be the man I was looking for since he was a nameless divine emperor. It's been 40 years since he seized the compass by relying on his Phantom Dao. He knew I was looking for him, so he never displayed that technique to others during all these years. He remained hidden for so long, only to expose himself while facing a deadly situation, but he still died in the end. What a pity. Since he is dead, the compass must have fallen into the hands of Sword Emperor. Sword Emperor. The muttering voice suddenly became excited. Tell them to kill Sword Emperor at all costs, then bring his body and interspatial ring back to me, the voice ordered. That compass belongs to me alone. Inside the Monster Spies Information Center, the black-robed elder had just received the order from Crystal-Armored Monster Emperor. Sure enough, Crystal-Armored Monster Emperor ordered to us to kill Sword Emperor, no matter the cost. However, Sword Emperor is a superior emperor and it will be hard for us to kill him with only the current force that is hidden in the human territory. The elder was staring at the ground, lost in thought, but he quickly reached a decision and looked up. It seems that we have to ask that lord for help. Among the monster spies in human territory, some of them were powerful while some were weak. The weak were the demonic beasts in the Saint Realm and Cloud Realm, but the most powerful ones could even fight against divine generals and divine emperors. Some talented spies even managed to have a breakthrough in their cultivation after entering the human territory. Among those spies, the most powerful one should be G, who had exceeded the power of a rank 9 monster and reached the level of a monster king. In the Monster Exterminating League, Monster Kings were supreme experts that were as powerful as Temple Masters. Master G. The black-robed elder went to a secret chamber and called out respectfully. The chamber was closed all year round because the master spent most of his time cultivating and rarely came out. "What's the matter?" the master asked in a frigid voice. "Crystal-armored monster emperor ordered us to kill a human emperor at all costs and take his body and interspatial ring back. However, this human emperor is a superior emperor that is extremely powerful." Chapter 560, Bad Blood. Chapter 560, Bad Blood. Jian Wushuang stayed inside the holy place, immersing himself in the slaughter Dao, with no idea that he was being targeted by crystal-armored monster emperor. 10 days passed in the blink of an eye. During these days, he became more accustomed to the slaughter Dao. Now, he was able to use its power much more easily. However, he knew that this was only minor progress and that he still had a long way to go. So far, he was only able to use the power of the slaughter Dao on its own. He was still unable to combine it with his other skills. 10 days have passed. Temple Master Iceberg must be running out of patience, so it's time to give him an answer. Jian Wushuang smiled and went to meet Temple Master Iceberg. Among the palaces that covered the mountain in the holy place, there was a scarlet one, and the owner of that palace was naturally Temple Master Iceberg. The palace was well decorated and the master was sitting before a table, barefoot, drinking by himself. "I've yet to receive an answer from Jian Wushuang over these past 10 days. Temple Master Iceberg frowned. Maybe he discovered the secrets behind the compass. No, he couldn't have. Temple Master Iceberg shook his head. The compass is not a treasure at all. Its only value is related to ancient world token. Since he's still in the Saint Realm, he should still know nothing about the token, so he won't be able to figure out anything regarding the compass. Moreover, I apologized to him and flattered him as much as I could. If he is smart, he should know to avoid offending me for an object that he doesn't know the value of." Temple Master Iceberg was lost in thought when a guard came and reported to him. "Temple Master, Sword Emperor is asking to see you. He's finally arrived." Temple Master Iceberg's eyes lit up. "Let him in." After the guard left, Jian Wushuang quickly walked in. "Temple Master Iceberg," Jian Wushuang said modestly. "Ha, Sword Emperor, finally, here you are." Temple Master Iceberg wore a big smile and waved towards Jian Wushuang. "Come, take a seat, let's enjoy a drink together." "No, but thank you. I don't feel like drinking right now." Jian Wushuang shook his head and continued, "Temple Master Iceberg, I've searched through Emperor Golden Snake's interspatial ring for that compass you wanted." Temple Master Iceberg immediately looked toward Jian Wushuang with expectation. "But, I'm really sorry, I didn't find that compass," said Jian Wushuang. "You didn't find it?" Temple Master Iceberg's smile disappeared. He continued in a gentle voice, "Did you search for it carefully? I gave that compass to Golden Snake in person, and he took it with him wherever he went. It must be in his interspatial ring. I've looked through the ring almost 100 times, but I was unable to find it." Jian Wushuang shook his head again. "Maybe, I was being too careless. After all, there are a lot of treasures in the ring and I don't know what it looks like. Could you describe it to me?" Maybe tell me its shape, size, color, or something else about it. I'll check for it again. Its shape and size. Temple Master Iceberg paused. He did know that Emperor Golden Snake had a compass in his interspatial ring, but he had never seen it himself. Sword Emperor. Temple Master Iceberg looked serious. Frankly speaking, I didn't actually give Golden Snake the compass myself, but it's true that it means a lot me, so I hope that you can give it back to me, and I'll owe you a favor, okay? Owe me a favor? Upon hearing those words, Jian Wushuang was even more sure that the compass had to be unusual. Otherwise, Temple Master Iceberg would not have made a promise so easily. They both knew that it was always hard to settle a debt, maybe even harder for a master like Temple Master Iceberg. If it was someone else who was asking, then I might agree to their request, but this Temple Master Iceberg, Jian Wushuang smiled coldly in the heart. He had not forgotten that it was Temple Master Iceberg who had promoted the life-death duel between Golden Snake and him, even though he knew that, as a Saint Realm expert, Jian Wushuang would inevitably die in that battle. Had it not been for the fact that Jian Wushuang broke through to the Slaughter Dao during the battle, he might have died already. In one word, because of Temple Master Iceberg, he had been forced to place one foot in the grave. He was completely enraged and would not get over it with just a simple apology. Most importantly, Jian Wushuang understood that Temple Master Iceberg didn't apologize to him because he felt sorry, it was only in order to get the compass. Jian Wushuang reckoned that he would not pay attention to him at all if he did not have the compass. Temple Master Iceberg, few people in the Monster Exterminating League would dare to refuse a favor from you. But, I'm terribly sorry, I'm unable to find the compass you want in the ring, Jian Wushuang said directly. He told a lie with a straight face. Temple Master Iceberg looked grave. Jian Wushuang. The master's voice turned icy as he called Jian Wushuang by his name. I've shown enough respect to you. Don't force me to do this the hard way. Temple Master Iceberg gazed at Jian Wushuang and said, the compass is useless to you, so just give it to me or. Jian Wushuang showed a cold look. Or you'll kill me on spot and then seize the interspatial ring. Temple Master Iceberg paused. Even though he was one of the most powerful Temple Masters in the Monster Exterminating League, he was not the strongest. There was another terrifying person, Temple Master Black Spirit, who was superior to him. Therefore, he dared not kill Jian Wushuang while inside the holy place. Jian Wushuang, do you really want there to be bad blood between us? Temple Master Iceberg asked frigidly. No, of course not. I just simply didn't see the compass in the ring. Jian Wushuang answered in a low voice. However, he sneered in the heart. Show me respect? It was only because you wanted the compass. When you saw it wasn't working, you even tried to threaten me. Shame on you, Temple Master Iceberg. Chapter 561, the 10th level. Chapter 561, the 10th level. Currently, there was a frigid atmosphere in the hall. Temple Master Iceberg stared at Jian Wushuang with a grim look and Jian Wushuang looked him directly in the eye. Fine. After a long time had passed, the master finally spoke. Since you don't have the compass, just leave. Jian Wushuang retreated without hesitation. While watching Jian Wushuang walk away, Temple Master Iceberg had a vicious look in his eyes and he clenched his fists so tightly that his fingernails almost pierced his skin. Jian Wushuang, since you're being stubborn, don't blame me for being merciless. After exiting Temple Master Iceberg's palace, Jian Wushuang let out a sigh of relief. Luckily, even though Temple Master Iceberg is desperate to get that compass, he didn't go crazy and try to kill me inside the holy place. Jian Wushuang thought. Just now, he had been worried that the master would really try to kill him. If so, he had no confidence in his ability to survive. He let me go this time, but I'm sure he won't hesitate if he ever gets the chance to kill me. Jian Wushuang had spotted the killing intent in Temple Master Iceberg's eyes. Compared to Emperor Golden Snake, Temple Master Iceberg is a more difficult opponent. He's completely overbearing and hypocritical. Emperor Golden Snake tried to kill me to get revenge for his son. At least that was reasonable. As for Temple Master Iceberg, a chilling light flashed in Jian Wushuang's eyes. If only I was stronger than him. Jian Wushuang growled silently, unwilling to accept the fact that he was still too weak. Because of him, Jian Wushuang had been forced to risk his life in the battle with Emperor Golden Snake, and even now, he was being pushed into a corner again. Yet, he had to bear it all because he was too weak. Currently, he had hit a bottleneck, and the only way to greatly improve his power was by condensing the 9 origin marks so that he could reach the level of flying to the 9th heaven. Other than that, any improvement in the bone fusion technique and sword principle might be helpful as well. With that in mind, Jian Wushuang immediately went to the monster exterminating pagoda and exchanged for the 10th level of the bone fusion technique. The 10th level was very precious, so purchasing it required a lot of monster cores. Luckily, Jian Wushuang had gained enough cores from Emperor Golden Snake's interspatial ring, enabling him to purchase it. As for the highest levels, the 11th and 12th levels could not be acquired using monster cores. Those 2 levels were of great value and could not even be found in the monster exterminating pagoda. The only way to obtain them was to go to the 5th floor of the Earth Core Palace, where the relic was stored, and comprehend them directly. However, there was a high requirement for cultivators to enter that floor, and even Jian Wushuang, who was a divine emperor, did not meet that requirement for the time being. After going back to his residence, Jian Wushuang started to practice the 10th level of the bone fusion technique. The further he progressed, the harder it became. It had taken him a half-month to master level 9. Obviously, it would take him more time to master the 10th level. Time went by slowly. In the Monster Spies Information Center, an elder had just finished reading a message and began to frown. Why hasn't Sword Emperor left the holy place even once during the last 2 months? The elder was using every source available to him in the human territory to keep an eye on Jian Wushuang. Therefore, he knew Jian Wushuang's every action. Sword Emperor acquired the 10th level of the bone fusion technique 2 months ago, and it seems that he has been cultivating ever since then. I thought he would leave the holy place and enter the military camp or monster territory after he became a divine emperor. However, I was wrong. I'm afraid that he won't come out until he has mastered the 10th level. Few temple masters have managed to master the 10th level, and he is only in the Saint Realm, so I don't know how long we'll have to wait for him to come out, the elder pondered. In the past, it wouldn't have bothered him at all to wait. But now, it was a direct order from Crystal Armored Monster Emperor, and he was very eager to get the compass, so he had already urged the elder to seize it 3 times. Crystal Armored Monster Emperor will be mad if I don't present the compass to him within the near future. There is no use waiting for him to leave the holy place willingly. I have to find a way to draw him out, the elder thought. He picked up a file from the desk, on which everything Jian Wushuang had done since he came to the monster continent was written in detail, including how he had been saved by the Wu Yen tribe. Wu Yen tribe, the elder raised his eyebrows. According to the file, Jian Wushuang lived in Wu Yen tribe for over a month, and in order to disguise his identity as an outsider, he claimed to be one of them after he left there, so he must have a good relationship with them. Let me make some trouble for the Wu Yen tribe. The elder smiled coldly. If the tribe gets into danger, Sword Emperor will definitely leave the holy place to save them. The elder immediately issued his order. 3 days later, in the Green Hillock tribe of the human territory. The Green Hillock tribe bordered Wu Yen tribe. When Jian Wushuang was in Wu Yen tribe, they had once caught a spy from the Green Hillock tribe. It was night, and the whole area was completely silent. 5 figures slowly approached the Green Hillock tribe. Listen, our mission is to eliminate the Green Hillock tribe. Do it as quickly and as cruelly as possible. We have to scare the Wu Yan tribe and force their leader to ask Sword Emperor for help. Understood. The 5 figures discussed their plans in a low voice before finally arriving at the entrance to the Green Hillock tribe. Chapter 562, Exiting the Holy Place. Chapter 562, Exiting the Holy Place. Jian Wushuang, as one of the divine emperors, had his own residence in the holy place, and it was a fairly large manor. At this moment, he was busy exercising inside his manor. He was in the horse stance, with his upper body naked and his fists tightly clenched, releasing punches, one after the other, and his every move would cause an exploding sound to reverberate throughout the area. Naturally, he was covered in sweat. After a long time had passed, he finally stopped and moved to a stone table, where he proceeded to gulp down the container of water that was on it. He let out a sigh. Though he looked tired, there was joy in his eyes. Finally, I've mastered the 10th level of the bone fusion technique after 2 months of practicing. Jian Wushuang smiled. He had been cultivating hard during these last 2 months, all in order to strengthen his body. He had even bought some treasures from the monster exterminating pagoda, like the 9th heaven thunderbolts. These treasures had been quite helpful to him and he had finally succeeded in mastering the 10th level. It goes without saying that the 10th level was more powerful than the 9th level. As of now, Jian Wushuang's body was much stronger than before, but it was still far from its limits. From the time he first reached the level of Venerable Master until now, he had been slowly strengthening his body. I really want to know how incredible my body will be when it finally reaches its limits. Jian Wushuang was full of expectations. Sword Emperor. Jian Wushuang heard a hearty voice right before a red-haired elder entered. Emperor Daofeng. Jian Wushuang stood up and looked at the elder. Emperor Daofeng, one of the 108 divine emperors, had an important position in the Monster Exterminating League. He was in charge of many issues regarding the human territory. Sword Emperor, I came here for only one reason. Emperor Daofeng went straight to the point. Please tell me then, Jian Wushuang said with a smile. Even though the human territory takes up a small portion of the monster continent, it is still so vast. Because of this, many demonic beasts keep infiltrating our land and placing monster spies within our population. Those spies normally maintain a low profile and behave themselves for fear of being found, but several days ago some spies attacked a territory and slaughtered many experts for no reason. They slaughtered human beings inside the Huamen territory. Jian Wushuang was shocked. From what he had learned, monster spies usually wouldn't slaughter human beings unless they were exposed. Therefore, what the elder had told him was a rare case. Those attackers were very powerful. Some of them were even rank 7 or 8 monsters. So far, they have destroyed 4 tribes, said the elder gravely. In that case, you must be preparing to send some human experts there to kill those spies as soon as possible, said Jian Wushuang. He shot Emperor Daofeng a weird glance before asking, Emperor Daofeng, did you come here to ask me for help? Yes. Emperor Daofeng nodded. These spies are powerful and only divine emperors can kill them all. I came to ask you for help because those attacks took place near the Wu Yan tribe. What? Jian Wushuang's expression suddenly darkened. The Wu Yan tribe was where he had stayed when he first arrived on the monster continent. It was a place where he had felt some rare warmth in his life. He had only spent 1 month there, but he still held some feelings for the tribe. Wu Yu, the lovely girl with big eyes, and Qing Hu were still on his mind. Did those spies attack the Wu Yan tribe? Jian Wushuang could not help asking. Not yet, Emperor Daofeng answered. I came here because I knew you were from that tribe. Okay, I'll start off now. After saying that, Jian Wushuang left immediately and headed towards the tribe. In no time at all, a flowing light was seen heading from the holy place towards the Wu Yan tribe. Outside the holy place, the spies who had been watching the entrance reported the news the moment they saw Jian Wushuang come out. Inside the monster clan's information center, the black-robed elder smiled cruelly upon receiving the news. Sure enough, Sword Emperor set out to save the Wu Yan tribe without a hint of suspicion. But there's no reason for him to think that it was a trap set for him. The elder was right. It never occurred to Jian Wushuang that the whole thing was just a trap set to lure him out. He never thought that the monster clan would specifically target him since he was just an outsider. There were some cases where monster spies had murdered exceptional geniuses from the Monster Exterminating League before they could become really powerful. However, as an outsider and a superior emperor, Jian Wushuang was different. It would be insane for those spies to plan to kill him. What was beyond Jian Wushuang's expectation was that a monster emperor had been driven crazy by the compass he got from Emperor Golden Snake. Master Ji is ready. All we need to do is wait for Sword Emperor to arrive. The black-robed elder sneered. Over the years, he had managed to murder many geniuses and experts. Even though his current target was a superior emperor, he was still confident. At the same time, in a towering palace in the holy place, Temple Master Iceberg also received the news that Jian Wushuang had left the holy place. Finally, you went out by yourself. With the Wu Yan tribe in danger, you couldn't just stand by and watch. Temple Master Iceberg looked grim with an icy smile on his face. I thought you would never leave the holy place. It's true that I can't deal with you as long as you're in the holy place, but now that you've gone outside. Not long after Jian Wushuang left the holy place, Temple Master Iceberg left as well. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.